Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Downtime with Downstar, episode 231. Greg, True Life, I'm a Streetracer. You're here, bro. Last time that we had you on one of our platforms was Huffy Talk, dude. That was like 2016.
It's been a minute.
And when we had you on there, dude, the convo was amazing, bro. If anybody's not familiar with Huffy Talk, we had a pretty good platform, and then a lot of people would come on live. So we would have the guest go on, and you were our guest one time, and you came on, and you were people were asking you questions in the chat, and then you were showing off the your garage and your build and stuff like that, dude. And it was awesome, man. People were super stoked at that time to hear from you.
Yeah, a lot of content, a lot of stuff that, time goes by, and it seems that, I've always been very present.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not much of a planner, and I'm not much of a, I think by default I get to live in the past a little bit, but yeah. I'm not much about that. So it's cool to, just have people ask those questions and be able to tell those stories, and because it's very inspirational to a lot of people, and it brought a lot of people into the industry that had never been in the industry before.
It definitely did, dude. So I was looking at I watched the episode earlier today just to refresh, and then I saw on IMDb that it came out in September 2003, dude. So that was about the time that everything was just starting to pop off. So let's take a trip back in memory lane, dude.
Should we do the
take it back, dude? So right now, when people recognize you and they see that you're from the show, what are some of the answers that you get from them, or what the show meant to them?
I get a lot when the show popped continuously. I mean, people kind of had to find me back then because there wasn't social media.
Yeah,
and so it was somehow people would find me. I got a letter from I don't know how they got my address, but I got a letter.
Oh wow, a letter at home?
Yeah, I got a P.O. box.
Oh, okay,
I got a letter from Ireland.
Wow,
and it blew my mind. It was this kid, and it was his brother had died in street racing.
Wow,
an MR2 in New York, and so he had just bought an MR2 and was kind of doing like a tribute build, but it like touched me.
Yeah,
it blew my mind, and that's kind of the vibe I get with the messages is like, hey, thank you. And it was a thank you for, representing the street community. Thank you for representing street racing. Thank you for, speaking for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what it was. It was a lot of like, thank you for speaking for us at the time. And now it's this whole generation. There's been generations that have grown up, and it's like, yo, I saw that when I was like 8 years old. My dad showed me. And so I got my first Honda at 15, and I worked on it till I got my permit or whatever it was. And a lot of real great gratitude for keeping them out of like drugs or gangs or whatever was going on around them, and just kind of inspiring them into, cars, and to spending their money and time and effort and energy in cars and getting with that community instead of the alternatives.
And that was a big deal back in the day, right? The street life and the street racing car culture was pretty intertwined back in the day, right?
Yeah, it was a family. And so, it was a rougher family.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's a lot watered down as far as the way things go, because we have internet, and we have I believe it's less of a rougher element. Street racing is because it's less of a rougher time. I mean, if you look at the 80s and 90s, they were rough.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the way that the country was. Crime was at an all-time high. And it's interesting, they did an analysis on there's an economist who they were trying to figure out why crime dropped. And it was based on that Roe versus Wade. There was more wanted children and present parents. And so it came down to like the parental whatever, but that's like generational happened, and we have less crime now because of that. They tried to figure everything out. They said, well, is it more police presence? No, it's not. They did all this stuff. And yeah, it's like in Freakonomics. It's a crazy book.
So you mean that the presence of family made it drop?
the presence of family made crime drop.
Got you.
Because it was, you know, a lot of, if you think about it, there was a lot of, and I'm not putting I'm not chiming in on, you know, abortion rights and all that stuff. That's not what
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a woman. That's not really my place. I could have a perspective, but
Facts.
so it's just the thing that happened. And so people were forced to kind of have these unwanted kids, and unwanted kids tend to have like, just grow up neglected.
Yeah.
And so then they end up getting into all kinds of trouble, you know, because you don't really have like, it's really important to have a father figure, you know.
Yeah, definitely, dude. That's so strange. I was just talking about sort of a subject like that recently. I was like, the creation of like gangster rap was something that really hurt the community a lot, and I don't have it, like the actual interview to look at, but it was just Kanye was just talking about it,
Right.
how that some executives got with Bone Thugs and was telling them like, we want the content of the music to go this way, because they had like a whole bigger plan for things. Because if you think about rap and hip hop before, you know, gangster rap, it was totally different.
Right.
You know, the music style and the you know, the frequencies that they even used for the music and the beats was a lot more higher. Of
and
course,
those old school influences.
Yeah, and then it was just something happened, and you can't deny that had an effect on people's lives. You know, because it even had an effect on my personal life.
Yeah, I literally drove around street races, like driving to the street races, bumping the Chronic, you know, and it was pretty fresh then.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. And so it's kind of like Wu-Tang forever. It's just kind of like, dude. 93, that whole skating, Wu-Tang. And I remember, I think the first time I heard about Wu-Tang with some homies, but then I remember there was also like a thing in Thrasher. It's like, was talking about anything, because I grew up skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like I was like semi-pro skate when I was young.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I used to shred.
Hell yeah, dude. We're going to shred today, right?
We're going to absolutely shred today.
Last time you came to the shop, you were trying to teach me how to do a tray flip.
I got some new tips, man.
I got close. Yeah. I'm going to land it today.
I got my nollie trays on lock. Man.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny, dude, because like I know another buddy, he can do nollie trays, but he can't do it regular.
Yeah, I can do both. Just my trays were like, I call it chicken leg.
Yeah.
Like if you do a trick, you put your leg down so you don't land, like, because it's like bailing. You know what I mean? It's a bad habit, right? It's like, when you're learning tricks, you don't have the confidence to like pop it high enough or to flip it or whatever, so you're not going to land it. So you learn to rotate your body so you don't land on your board like primo or whatever.
Got you.
And that's kind of what I'm having to like get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like high pop ollies and things like that. How pop kick flips.
Because
I like flip them, I like lob them low, you know. And
yeah, dude. I'm trying to learn a new trick because it's been a long time since I've learned a new trick.
What are you trying to learn?
Well, I want to learn a 360 flip today. You're gonna help me, right?
All right, we'll go back to that.
Hell
for sure.
yeah,
yeah.
So before cars, it was skateboarding.
Before cars, 100% was skateboarding.
Okay, so
I live skateboarding.
What's your earliest memory of jumping on a board?
It was, I got a board for my birthday.
Okay.
At some point, it was like some kind of basic board.
Early teen, before teens?
Before teens,
okay.
Yeah. Maybe like 11, 10, something like that. I was stoked on it. Rode it, you know, I'm like all the gear. My mom raised me, so she got me all the gear, the helmet. You know, I'm in the backyard, just trying to just roll around kind of thing. It was cool, but I didn't really. I remember I'd go in the backyard. There'd be like the free falling video. It was like Tom Petty free falling, and they're skating on the half pipe. And I remember just being inspired by that and going to the backyard and just doing like, I don't know, bonelesses or whatever. Just because I couldn't ollie, I couldn't do a lot of things. And then some years passed, my uncle got me a Tony Hawk.
Okay.
And he used to cut trees, and he did some work for the company that made the Tony Hawk boards. So he came up on a Tony Hawk, and he's like, "Yeah, I got you a skateboard." My Uncle Mike got me the skateboard. And I just remember like I had to go to the skate shop. I had to go to the skate shop and get the trucks for it. and get the wheels for it, and hot pink.
Oh, nice.
Hot pink. That was my favorite thing. You
Yeah.
know, it's like 80s, right? Late 80s. Hot pink. Still love it. It's like my favorite color, hot pink.
Did you have a crew? Or would you skate
Not
by
yet.
yourself?
No, I skated by myself at first. Yeah, and then it just kind of, I just started skating with other people, and I started getting that kind of age where I just needed to pull away from my mom, pull away from just, it's like that rebellious age, and like skateboarding was like the perfect mechanism to just roll out with my friends, go cause trouble, all that stuff. So
yeah, dude, I remember those days, bro. Going to Little Caesars. That's probably when they first started coming out with the hot and ready, the $5 pizza.
Yeah.
We would skate all day, dude, and then go to Little Caesars and get a pie, dude. And no cell phone, no nothing.
No cell phone, no nothing. I think before pagers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, it was before pagers.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. You think about the connectivity. But yeah, even when our homies worked at Little Caesars, 2 of them, we used to skate with. So we'd roll through late at night when they'd close down, and they'd have like pizzas for us. Like
Hell
a stack
yeah.
of pizzas. We'd take it for all the homies. It was perfect.
So at this time when you started skating, you're a kid. Where you living at?
I was living in La Habra.
Okay, so you grew up in La Habra?
Grew up in La Habra and in Tustin. And then kind of all over. I bounced around. I lived in my friend's treehouse for a while when I ran away at some point.
Oh shit!
Grabbed my skateboard, grabbed my skateboard, grabbed a backpack with some like clothes in it, whatever money I had saved up. And I was like, I got this. I don't know, probably like 13 or 14. Probably like 14.
What pissed you off?
I just got in a fight with my mom. And she got mad. I had friends over, I had my skater friends over. I think they ate all the ice cream, you know what I mean? And it was just like the last straw.
Yeah.
Because the ice cream is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like you just like, you come home, you want some ice cream and it's gone. And she was pissed, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, she yelled at all my friends, get out of the house and this and that. And I'm just like, well, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here, Mom.
I'm out of here. And it was wild, man. I lived in my friend's treehouse in his backyard, man. My friend Chandler Cardwell, man. Lived in his treehouse, right? He was actually Jason Lee's cousin.
Okay.
So I think something happened. I broke my board. I ended up with Jason Lee's like old board. Like he like gave it to me, but like way back. This is way back. Yeah, it was like winter. It was cold. I was living in this treehouse. I meet girls and be like, "Yo, come back to my treehouse." Like it was so dumb.
Oh shit!
And he used to sneak me out pancakes in the morning. Right?
Yeah.
This is like, what am I, like a freshman at this point?
Oh my God,
Like,
dude.
And so he'd sneak me out pancakes,
Yeah.
right? And then that went on for a while. I think it got through the winter. And like,
You stayed there that long?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
yeah, and he got, his neighbor saw him sneaking me pancakes, and it was a pretty good pad. It was a nice treehouse. And yeah, so I got kicked out of there. I got kicked out of my sweet treehouse spot.
Oh my God.
Ended up living on the roof of Troy High School for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, and then my dad hit me up. He's like, "Hey, you want to come live with me?" But like once you spread your wings and you're like, "Oh, I'm a teenage rebel on a skateboard with like living that, like don't have to go anywhere, don't have to answer anyone." So he took me in, and I didn't have a curfew.
Yeah.
So I was getting better at skating, and this was around the time I was skating with like Josh Beagle and like Keith Kirchard, the Birdhouse guys, the Foundation guys, Ronnie Kreger. I went to school with James Craig for a little bit, and who else? Just all these like cool like local pros, right?
Yeah.
Like Ronnie Kreger and I had the same girlfriend at different times.
Shit.
You know what I mean? And that kind of like, because I was now living in Tustin, and there was like all these rad spots right by my house. Like the place called Dust Garage was this closed down bank that had the smoothest concrete. It was amazing. And so we used to skate there. I had like painted curbs that you could just like, you can grind for miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was like Prairie Junior High and Tustin High. We'd skate Tustin. Then I like enrolled in Tustin. So I used to carry my board to school and like skate the stairs over the trash can at like lunchtime and things like that.
Wow.
They hated it, but I didn't care.
So you were like a rebel kid?
Yeah, severely, like a high level of rebel. Like,
So what do you remember what your mentality was back then? Like why you gravitated more towards that lifestyle?
It was freedom, because skating was just freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It was that escape from everything. When you hopped on a board and when you skated, when you did the trick, you were so focused. And my brain goes all over the place. And so it was that one would bring everything together because it's so difficult, so hard to skate, so hard to hop on a skateboard and do tricks and challenge yourself. It's hard.
Yeah.
You're like, you think about it, you're like rolling on this board that's like moving on the cement, trying to get it in the air over on picnic tables and over trash cans and things like that, downstairs. I see you doing like, front side lips down like rails and stairs and stuff. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I think it was that challenge was so appealing to me, and also the people. It's like, similar with like street racing and whatnot. It's like you share this love, like cars, like skateboards. You saw somebody on a skateboard, they were your homie. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, and the time it was exploding. Yeah. Right. It's that 90s, that early 90s skateboard explosion, right? That street skating, you have those symmetrical boards, and it was, it's just exciting. It's like, you're kind of like, you didn't have parks either. You didn't have skate parks back then. I think people don't realize that you didn't have skate parks. So you had to make do with like whatever it was. Like whatever you skated, you had to make do. Like you had to find a ledge and you had to kind of like learn how to ride it. You had to find some stairs in like a outdoor mall or something. And like wait till the security went by and try and like, it was a lot of running from cops. It was a lot of skating away from cops or running from cops or security. Yeah. And it's crazy because my little girl skates now. She's 8. Oh, awesome. And she shreds. No way. She shreds. And it's cool. She did her first comp 2 weekends ago. Oh, wow. Yeah. Very cool. She did her first comp. She loved it. And I didn't know, because I was just like, how are you going to, like, you want to do another one? She's like, yes, sign me up. And I was like, oh, cool. Wow. Yeah. And so we had fun, and I've been skating with her it's been almost 2 years. I've been back on the board. Damn, and just about the same as me, dude. Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy because I think I look at skateboarding so different now. Like I see the mechanics of it so different now, and I can see that if my foot's not this way, or if I need to turn something just a little bit to make it work, I see it and I feel it, and I can adjust that and make it work and land it. It's crazy, Dude, I 100% agree with you on that. When I looked at it when I was a child, it was like, okay, well, this dude can do that trick. I can't. Let me watch how he does it. And if I'm not doing it the same exact way that he's doing it, there's no way that I'm going to be able to land it. Right. But to me now, I'm just thinking, okay, well, if I want the board to flip this way, I'm going to have to push from here, flick here, move my leg here, jump higher, or whatever it is. And I don't want to say it seems easier, but I'm better than I was when I was a kid. So I don't know what to call it. You know? But yeah, just looking at it with adult eyes now, and kind of just taking it all apart and just making sure, like, well, if I have my foot right here and I flick right here, the board kind of turns this way, or that, okay, well, I want to do this or whatever. And then, just dial it in. And that's awesome. I think with age comes finesse, that's that wisdom. Yeah. Right. You're not just trying to hit it with like a bigger hammer, and that's what's being young is just, you just hit it with everything with a bigger hammer. And that's how you solve it. You just do it harder. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, just go harder, bro. Just go harder. And it doesn't work like that. Like, you got to kind of, life doesn't work like that. Yeah. And so 100% live life like that. I'll just hit it harder. Yeah. And like, it got me a lot of places, but it just lacked that finesse, and that's wisdom. That's what like growing up is all about. You get older and like you have that wisdom, and then you can re-inject that into that younger crowd, younger crew. Yeah. Now, in my case, my daughter, my girlfriend, she's got 3 kids, and like her son skates, he shreds. Yeah. He did the comp too. And nice. He was stoked. They're like pretty much the same age. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. And then her younger daughter's getting on the board now, and it's just like her younger one's getting on the board now. Wow. Got like a skate family. It's pretty cool. What's funny, dude, is like,
I'll always tell people, I say, oh, that's crazy you're doing skateboarding. And I'm like, maybe you just don't understand how similar and how intertwined skateboarding and the automotive community is.
Totally.
How is it that we're just talking and you're known for cars, but like you started out skateboarding?
Totally.
So many people,
Right.
the same thing. You know, and we'll sit down and we'll start talking like, oh, I used to skate. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like almost every car guy used to skate.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like a SoCal thing, dude.
Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of skate shops, skate companies in SoCal.
Yeah.
It's kind of the epicenter, you know?
Yeah,
And I think
definitely.
what's crazy, I was talking to my homie from Full Deck. We went to SEMA together.
Mm-hmm.
He on like a last minute flight. He's like, hey, pick me up from LAX. Let's go SEMA. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
I was gonna solo out there. So I crew for Jeff Jones Racing, which is a professional Formula Drift team.
Yeah.
And so he was going out there for SEMA Ignited, and you know we all went together a couple of years ago and did the whole SEMA thing. But him, Jeff, and his wife are going out there, and so a lot of times, I got a little condo in Vegas, so a lot of times I get all these homies that are like, "Oh, what's up? Let's do it, man!" But this year, it's like a lot of people just didn't come.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like you got to be serious in this industry to go to SEMA this year. If you're just a tire kicker, you just didn't go. And I think I saw that a lot. I saw just there's some people who were there all the time, and like they're just kind of like it's like you're like, what are you doing, man? So I asked myself that, what am I doing, man? But a lot of people weren't there, and so the people you talk to were just it's like let's get to business.
Yeah,
and it was cool, but. Yeah, he flew in. We went to SEMA, but we were talking about it, and I didn't realize until I had this conversation with him. But I've been on the forefront of these crazy explosions of things that are just timing and location, right? So skateboarding in the 90s, in the very beginning of that street skating style, and like just before it exploded, right? And I was there through all of it. Got the sponsorships, went to like ASR trade show, lived that whole crazy life, throwing flaming couches out the window at ASR parties.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And then, you know, I'm at the forefront of, sport compact street racing. You know, when we were getting laughed at for coming out there 4-cylinders trying to race V8s. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm just like how fortunate to be for not only those two, but I was also at the forefront of parkour when it started exploding, because I got really heavily into parkour in like 2004. Mm-hmm. Like, what's parkour in 2004?
Yeah, in 2004.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it till The Office.
Right. And so, you know, we started with that. I just fell in love with it, just the movement, the expression, the people. And the creator of parkour actually came out and jammed with us, this French guy, David Bell. And I came down and jammed UCLA with us, and like that was our spot. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. And so I even picked up a shoe sponsor for parkour. Yeah, Evolve with Evolve Sports.
Got you.
Yeah. They make like rock climbing shoes, and they actually make like super rad parkour shoes. Are like sticky rubber on them. Mm-hmm. I skate in them. I love skating in those shoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I'll skate in today is my Evolves. It's just amazing shoe, and they hold up so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then just blew up with that. I was doing that forever, like in Australia, all over the world doing that too.
Wow.
I did crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived on a sailboat for a while, trying to sail around the world.
Oh my God, dude.
That's a thing. That's a story.
Dude,
yeah, so then you think about that, and then the drifting thing. Like I was there, I had an S13 in late 90s. Mm-hmm. I had a 240 SX S13 in the late 90s, and then D1 came, and the drifting thing came, and I worked for D1. I did announcing for D1, and just kind of been there in the forefront. I remember when Ryan Sage was like, "Hey, I'm going to bring drifting to America," and was just really stoked for him. And I was there when he was like, I'm just going to do my own series. It just sucks working with the Japanese, right? And then now we're in D1. And now I see him all the time, and it's just like I'm so proud of those genesis, that spark of idea, and the balls it takes to bring an idea to like the forefront. So I'm so proud of him. And Jim Law too. So Jim Law just stepped off of being the VP of Formula Drift to go work for PRI. And so he was IDRC. So he worked for IDRC back in the day, which is Import Drag Racing Circuit, which is Mike Steele from D Sport. And so, like, running around with those guys on like the IDRC circuit, you know, like working with teams, like racing, just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. It's cool to see the people who are still here, doing crazy stuff. And so,
yeah. If you pick out somebody like somebody that's a big in a business or something like that, and if you've been around a long time, you remember where these dudes actually started at, and the road that they've traveled. And that's one of the things that I really do like about SEMA. It's just that refresh to see, like, you know, you just keep feeding the machine, and you're just gonna keep growing and growing and getting closer to whatever goals you have, because you see everybody else out there and they're making their dreams come true, you know, like a guy like Ryan from Rywire. You know, dude, I looked up to Ryan when I was on the forums back in the day before I even knew who he was. And I got into the community about like 2007, you know, and then to see where he's at now, where his company's at now, what he's doing, like with the S2000, the EV stuff, and then just keeping pushing it forward. It's amazing, dude. And everybody's on their own journey, and it's so cool just to watch everybody grow in the community.
It's cool. And I think it's, like, the SEMA is pretty inspiring, because I've always tried to do things my way, right? Like, I'm an artist, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. I'm an artist, and I live by inspiration. Like, I'm inspired, and I've never looked at anyone else's build. So all my stuff, I'm looking elsewhere. I'm looking like non-endemic for cool inspiration, like whether it's Aerospace or Formula One, you know, or just some kind of something else, like art, skate style, whatever. And, you know, it's cool that something like SEMA is just so inspiring, you know, because you can go there and meet the people who are inspired. And it's not the builds, because I'm not trying to emulate anybody. Like, I'm never trying to emulate anybody. And I think there's a lot of that, and that's okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? And but, you know, for me, it's, you know, trying to do a truly innovative concept, right? That's my goal in life almost. It's like my calling is to do this truly innovative concept, right? And to bring it to life, right? Because it's crazy. It's like, if you think about these crazy ideas and these, like, you know, some of these builds that are these people's like dreams, right? And that how much it takes to bring those things to life. And there's some really amazing artists out there. Yeah. And, you know, I think it's worth taking a moment to just, you know, to realize that, you know, this might be like a 10-year concept to bring something to life, you know, and that's what I'm grateful for. That's the inspiration I'm grateful for, is to see these completed pieces, you know, and to see, like, you can almost feel, I don't know if you can, man, but I feel that vibe, that energy coming off the car. I feel it coming off people when they're talking about it. You know, there's a struggle. Yeah. There's like a real struggle. You've built cars. You know how it is. Yeah. Like, high level builds are just, you know, and especially when you step outside of like whatever your endemic industry or scene or whatever it is, and you build something that's completely on its own, you know, like Ryan taking that S2000 and building an EV car out of it. It's beautiful. It's, you know, it's an inspiration for him, you know, because I think at the time he was kind of bored with it all. Yeah. I don't know if you talked to him before he built that thing. Oh yeah, for sure. He was kind of bored with it all. He was like, yeah, I'll do the stuff. He just kind of was like not inspired as much. And then talking to him about just like right when he was kind of pulling the trigger on it, he was just so like, you could see the spark in his eye, you know? Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I get what you mean with people's builds and such like that, but it's more to me than just to look at it. I would need to talk to them and hear their reasoning why they did everything.
unfortunately, a lot in our community, the motivation is, bragging rights, and I want it to look not be better than this, or I want baller parts and things like that. There's a lot of ego involved in it. But when you talk to somebody like Ryan, I remember it was Tokyo Auto Salon 2019, possibly 18, somewhere around there. We have 10-hour flight, so we're just bullshitting the whole time, and he's telling me this whole plan that he has about building the EV S2000 and breaking it down to everything that he's and I just see him putting it all together in his head. And just like you said, the passion that he has for it, it's so apparent that it's not even a question. And if you're a creative, if you're an artist like that, it's easy to see that and to respect it, and then now fast forward to SEMA. The car was even finished before that, and then we didn't have SEMA last year, so they had the thing. I forget where it was. It was at Turn 14. It was the release for the S2000,
Right.
and now just to see it at SEMA and just to see like. It's not even really about the car or that it's electric car or any of that stuff. It's about my boy had that vision in his head. I don't know what he had in his head. Nobody knew what he was planning, but he did. And that's what it is. So that's what I admire, dude, is like I have things in my head and designs that I want, and I want it to look like this, and I could visualize exactly what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like when whatever it is, when I drive it, when I land this trick, when I edit this video, whatever. I could envision all of this in my head, but I have to create it for others to be able to see it.
Right.
And that's kind of the issue that I have a lot of times, is that disconnect from, I see it, I built it, I made it, and it's out there, and then it's just like, damn, sometimes I don't get that response from it, and it just throw it out there. So just like anything, you just got to keep doing and keep going, and sooner or later it's going to catch on.
But I mean, what's interesting, I think when I was younger, I needed that response. I looked for it, right? And I got it because I was doing stuff that nobody was doing. Right. And that's I was super far ahead. So I was just like, and that's a message I get a lot, is people are like, yo, you were so far ahead. You're building stuff that they're just building now, kind of thing. It's crazy. And that's a lot of my stuff. There's stuff I don't even talk about that's like, like a rear wheel drive CRX in like the early 2000s kind of thing. Like weird stuff, but yeah, man, it's like, I think you get to a point where, well, at least I get to a point where it's almost like I don't need the response anymore. And that it's kind of a crazy thing to me, because like whether we want to admit it or not, we're driven by ego, right? It's the quantity of ego that kind of defines our direction, right? And so like that response is important, because you want that feedback, you want that reflection on your effort,
good or bad, whatever it is.
Whatever, you just want something, and then you're just kind of like, how is this received, right? And as an artist, it's terrifying, okay, because you're just like, how is this received? Are they going to receive it the way I intend it? Are they going to take it out of context? It's terrifying. It's terrifying being an artist.
Yeah.
You're living the life, the razor's edge between like sheer pleasure and utter chaos all the time. And the level of artist depends on, there's like, I think I'm lucky that I get to live in the era I live in, to do the things I do. Because it's hard to function in this world being like so hard artist, like so hard in that level of artist. And I think we see that a lot. We see a lot of chaos in artist life. We see like, like Mac Miller, like where it's just, there's this destructive element because it's so hard to exist in this world. This world really, it's almost like it squashes artists, stomps them out.
Yeah.
right? Unless you're lucky enough to get enough following or to get enough leverage to be able to do what you do. And that's very rare considering the quantity of artists there are. I mean, school systems squash out artists. They're pulling art programs out left and right of school systems. It's like, it's really not encouraged. It's encouraged in like, oh yeah, artists are awesome. But at the same time, there's no real like stepping stone or staircase to be like, oh, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Life's going to be hard for you. Let's, here's a program to get you, to kind of like help you to refine that art, to help you find a direction for that art. You know what I mean? Like the whole scholastic system is just like, like you got to fall in line. This is how everyone does it. You're going to, do it this way. And then, spend a bunch of money going in debt, going into a 4-year school, and then you're going to be solid.
When you're 65,
when you're 65 with $400,000 in debt, you'll have a master's degree that, no one's going to hire you because you don't have experience anyway. So
do you feel like the veil's getting lifted off of that bullshit?
I think a lot of veils are getting lifted, but at the same time, a lot of veils are getting dropped.
Yeah.
And, there are people who are waking up and there are people who are going to sleep. It's just, it's like the dichotomy of it all, right? So it's like everything kind of has to have its checks and balances, right? It's almost like this kind of universal like equalization that happens. That's what I believe. I believe that people are telling me like, oh, the world's crap. There's a bunch of BS. Everything is falling apart. And I'm like, yeah, but there's some amazing things happening and there's some amazing people doing some amazing things, and amazing, beautiful people are like waking up and doing cool things and being kind and increasing their gratitude. And, I'm hearing so much more of people just being grateful.
Yeah.
And that's like the core of it all. And so, but it's balanced, right?
Yeah.
The world is as good or as bad as you choose to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
So, I mean, right. Like, people watching or whatever, it's like, if you got a roof over your head, if you got food on the table, if you got fresh water, right?
Yeah.
You can read, you have some money in your pocket, whatever, you're doing better than probably 80% of this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you have those things, you have health, why not be grateful, man? Like, don't sweat it. Right. Like, I know our society propagates doing really well and balling out, having a ton of money, but be grateful with what you got and the family you have and the people you have around you. Those relationships are gold.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really what you look at and what you feed. Right.
Yeah, no, definitely, dude. And I try to preach this as much as I can. Is like, it's the situation is what it is. Your drink falls, the liquid spills everywhere. It is what it is.
Right.
You could handle it however you handle it, but you're adding the emotion to the situation, whatever happened.
Right.
So it's on you. It's not necessarily like it fell, that ruins everything. It's negative. That it could very well flip around and be fun. Oh, dude, don't worry about it. We'll clean it up. It just happened. So it just really depends on how you decide to interpret that situation. And I feel like if you look at every situation in life, when something happens to you and you realize that, you really have the power with this situation. It's not just because something even if it happens that, okay, you lose your job, most people would say that's a horrible thing, but if you look at it like, man, I don't even like that job anyways. This is my sign from the universe that this isn't the situation that I need to be in. So let me find a new situation. Now I don't got to be at that job anymore. Yeah, right. You could look at it like, now I'm going to be stressed out. I don't know how I'm going to pay for the bills. But I mean, there's always ways around everything. And if you set up your life in a certain way where you hold back a lot of the pleasures just to make sure that all your other ducks are in a row, so if something does happen that you at least have sort of a cushion, then you can interpret those situations whichever way that you want. and you don't have to look at it as a negative. But I always try to say that negativity is probably the easiest feeling and the easiest mindset to go towards, and that's why so many people go towards that way. When you see something happen or when you hear of something, it's so easy to go negative because that's the easiest route to go to. It's a lot harder to look at a situation and try to find some sort of positivity in it.
I think conditioning too. I think we're all conditioned, not all, but I think it's a conditioning. Like if you don't realize how lucky or how grateful you are, you're going to look at the negative.
Yeah.
And it's a choice. Now, I think if you're not taught that you have a choice, I think, like traditionally based on culture, it's just negative. Everything's negative, and I think I see that changing.
Yeah.
I think it's to offset the bad that's happening. The good is happening too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not, it's not, you're not going to see it on the nightly news.
Oh, definitely.
It doesn't get headlines
because it doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
If positivity did, we'd have
a different world.
If they could sell ads on positivity, and that brought as much revenue as the negativity did, then it would shift like that. And I don't know, man. I don't know if that's just human nature. I don't know if that's just society. I don't know if there's a way that you can actually change that. But
yeah, it's like why everyone steps on their brakes and slows down for traffic accidents.
Yeah.
Wow, like you've seen it, I'm always like, okay, like I don't look at it.
Yeah. Which
is like kind of hard to do, right? Because you're driving, you might have some beats on or whatever. There's an accident happens. It's like, I'm start thinking about the people behind me. Mm-hmm. I start thinking about those people in the car, and I'm just like, man, they're okay. You know what I mean? Because
exactly.
Not like, oh, let me get something from my story real quick. But like, man, I hope those people are okay because those people have families, right? And I think about the people behind me. Like if I slow down, it's going to slow down a whole chain of like people behind that.
Yeah.
So I just look forward, man. Like, I'm grateful for my life, my family. I'm grateful for health. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope those people are okay.
I have my homie, Jeff, rest in peace. He passed away a few months back from in a car accident, right?
Yeah, sorry to hear that, man.
Thank you, man. Great guy, dude. Huge member of the community and just doing what he loved, dude. And we saw the news report on it. They talked about him for a few seconds, and the rest was about the traffic that was backed up on the freeway because of the accident.
Well, yeah, that Civic, right?
Yeah, the purple Civic.
He would street run that thing all the time.
Yeah. Hey.
No, I know.
He lived life and he went out doing what he loved.
Right.
But of course, people in that traffic, they have no idea about how his child is going to feel, about how his girl, his family, his mother, his friends, how any of them feel, how the community is impacted.
Right.
They just look at how they're impacted. Fuck, I'm going to be late now because of this fucking accident.
Right.
Are you listening to what the fuck you're saying right now? And then sometimes I'll be with somebody and like they'll look at a situation like that in their own selfish way. And I'm like, man, dude, you don't even know what happened to this person. And now their whole life is affected from this.
Right.
You might be late 10 minutes, whatever, dude. It is what it is, and
right.
I mean, we all have those selfish feelings every once in a while.
Yeah, and that's human.
It's just
right.
You got to check yourself sometimes. The world's a lot bigger.
Community too. Like I don't think we're living in a society where we check that.
Yeah.
We actually, I think, egocentric. The egocentric are put on pedestals.
Yeah.
Just
so weird.
That's giving everyone a soapbox, It's like those, for some reason, that gets pushed up in our society. It's crazy, but that's the way it is. Everyone has a soapbox now that stand on and to pitch their perspective. And so we're just so inundated with so many people's perspectives and so many people's perspectives on those perspectives, you know. And I mean, it's crazy. It's like meta because we're on like a podcast like show talking about our perspectives, and people are going to comment their perspectives on that too. So it's like, but I think there's some benefit in having good perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, things like Joe Rogan, there's some really good perspectives on there. There's just
Definitely.
like, it's like, you know, unbridled, just raw perspective. And I think that's important. There's vulnerability on there. There's a lot of really interesting things that don't normally get out. And I think it's important to grow that reach. Like he's grown his reach to the point where he can portray truths, you know, and you too, you know, you're growing your reach where you can portray truths about this positivity and this message, you know, and that's the core of it. And there's always going to be opposition to that.
Yeah.
That's the light and dark. That's the balance, you know.
Definitely, but I do find it's a lot more easier to give out the message when you yourself have been on the other side. And I always talk about that, how everything that I talk about now, you know, about positivity and just your mindset and treating people right, that's because I decided to work on myself and realize that living that lifestyle was so much more of satisfaction than I previously did. You know, this was the life that I lived. Right. This was the life, the ego life that I lived, you know, that I wanted to go out and I wanted to be seen and I wanted people to think about me like, why? You weren't doing nothing. You weren't doing anything that was important. Why should anybody even be interested in who you are? Like, you're not doing anything to progress, or you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like now I still have that in me, but I need to keep it on check.
Totally. It's just what you feed.
Yeah.
It's whether you feed it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Because I was the same way. I think we all were, right? And some have more than others. My old apprentice, Mike Booth, he didn't have much ego. I think he was like the youngest of a family of 4. So maybe that has something to do with it, but fantastic. He just didn't have ego. So when you try to teach him stuff, you're not fighting ego.
Yeah.
And I think that's a clear example of like, oh, we learn so much if we just kick our ego out of the way and just are like, yeah, all right, I suck at this. Like, let's get down to business. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, street racing, I was good. I won a lot. You know, like I was innovating. I was putting a bunch of money back into the car, back into, you know, learning how to hustle better, learning how to do all that. Because street racing it was a hustle, right? Yeah. But it was still like, once I got that recognition from MTV, you know, it was after the Fast and Furious, and you know, it was crazy, right? Because imagine going everywhere and people are just like, yo, dude, you're that dude from that thing. Yeah. Right. And they're just like, I remember the first time, I'll never forget this. First time I'm sitting in a restaurant going out to dinner with my girl at the time, right, Jennifer. And these dudes are like staring at me. Right. And you got to understand that street racing, where I come from, the world I come from before that, was a rougher world. Right. Most of my homies carried guns and whatnot. We had respect, so not a lot of bad things happened, but things did. Mm-hmm. But you know, you just don't disrespect people, and so these dudes are looking at me, and I'm just like, you know, like, well, what the F are you looking at, man? And I'm just like, and they're walking up to me, and I'm just like, what's up? What are you looking at? And they're just like, they just glaze that over. They're like, what's up, dude? You're the dude from the MTV thing. What's up, Street Racer? Oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever. And these were like, kind of like, you know, rough looking guys. Like, I thought we were about to brawl it out for some reason, right? Yeah. And these had no idea what I said. They're just like getting the courage up to say what's up to me. And I'm just like, I felt like the biggest asshole, right? I'm just like, man, these dudes just wanted to say what's up to me. And I'd kind of learned this lesson from Paul, because I'd stayed friends with Paul Walker when we did Fast and Furious. Gotcha. And I kind of talked him into, he literally was like, yo, should I buy a Civic on the set? So we're on the set, and he's like, should I buy a Civic? And I was like, bro, like, we could probably get you bumped up in line at Motor X to get a Skyline. That's probably in your budget. He's like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. He had just no idea. But like when we would hang out, so we'd hang out off like after that, we'd go eat, go grab breakfast or whatever, because he lived in Huntington Beach for a while.
Got you.
And he would see people, and he would be like, they would be like, yo, Paul Walker, what's up? And he would just be like, what's up, dude? What do you drive? Like, that's cool, And I was learning these lessons along the line of like, and I was just like, how cool is that? Like he was gaining traction as being this like ultra celebrity, right? Especially in our community.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And so people would see him, and he'd be like, yo, sit down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'd be just talking, just him and I grabbing food. He'd have people sit down, and just the coolest, right? So I learned that lesson right there. Is just like, I never want to be that dude that just says like, oh, nah, man, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Because, I put myself out there, and that's the gratitude again, right? It's like, how grateful am I to be acknowledged for what I do, right? For what I do, what I create, the scene and lifestyle that I grew up in. And, these people are they're people who are like excited about me and like what I do. Like, that's crazy cool. And so after that, I was just like, look, I'm going to talk to every single person who talks to me. You know what I mean? I'm going to respond to every single everything I can, you know what I mean? To try and like get these, like respond and acknowledge these people. Like, how cool is that? And I'm really glad I did. I'm really glad that was my mentality. And you see some people who are just like, nah, get away. Or like, I want my peace and quiet, because it's hard, man. Like, it's hard because during that era, so many people were just like it was like every day, everywhere I went. And there's like benefits. People would be like, no, on the house. No, like free, like it was cool, and so, but it was like, it's like, there's a lot of ego feed that happens with that too.
Yeah. I as much positive, there has to be the other side of the coin, a lot of negativity coming towards you, especially our community being built on, ego and pride. That's street racing 101 right there.
Yeah.
So what was some of that experience?
Well, it was like, it's crazy how it happens. So when you get celebrity, right? It's like all of a sudden I had an entourage, which was weird. Which it just, I don't know how it happened. I just had people who were like drawn to me, and we just went places together.
That weren't before?
That I knew them before, but it's like they were like, yo, homie, what's up? And, and me, I'm just like, yo, I want to race. Like, I want to race on a bigger level. Like, I want to do like road course stuff. I want to do like, I was trying to push for like a Grand Am program to race like Rolex Cup, Grand Am. Like, there's like you can run a Civic and that. So I was working with Honda, trying to get Honda on board I was trying to do a ton of stuff. And believe it or not, I had the bus concept then. And this is like 03.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I've been thinking about this school bus thing. I got a school bus. Like, if you guys don't know, I got a school bus.
Pepper,
the
She's
school
outside
bus.
right now.
She's outside right now. She's the craziest, funnest daily driver,
Yeah. That's your daily?
If you spent the time that I spent on something like that, you would drive her every day.
I remember last time you came, you and the family were going on a trip, and the kids were going to do school from the bus, and you guys were out.
Yeah, we're going for like a month and a half for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Dope. So, what were we? Entourage? What were we talking about? Entourage?
You were talking about the negativity that you were getting.
Oh, no, I think it was like, I wanted to do bigger things. So I wanted to do like a race program, and I had all these like this entourage of people who were just like, yeah, dude, you could do it. Just kind of kissing my ass, like, and it was crazy. Like, it was crazy. There was like groupie girls should be like, yo, I saw you, what's up, come over, like all this stuff. Like, we're being like PRI, and like, I meet a girl, she's like, I know who you are. She'd be like, take my hand, and like, you'd be like, whoa, hi. Oh, wow. It's nice to meet you. You know, like crazy things. And so, which, I'm like cool with, right? Because shortly after the show, my girlfriend on the show on MTV, she went to Paraguay for the Peace Corps. And then so she met an indigenous guy down there, and she ended up breaking up with me, which was kind of funny. It's kind of a funny story, right? That most people don't know is, so she sent me a letter, and the mail system is terrible coming from South America, right? And so she sent me a Dear John letter explaining like, hey, we got to break up, and you know, this stuff, like whatever. But I didn't get that letter, so she sent a letter to my mom saying like, hey, like later, maybe like weeks later, right? Talking about I'm doing okay. You don't have to worry about me. And so her new guy, his name was Jesus, right? But when you read it in the letter, she's talking about like, you guys don't have to worry about me because Jesus is always with me, and like talking about a lot about Jesus. So I got this letter. This is funny, right? I got this letter and I'm reading it, and I hadn't got my like, hey, oh, we're breaking up kind of letter before. I hadn't gotten that. So I'm just reading this letter like, oh, she's really gotten into Jesus. That's cool. Like, okay. You know, I'm like, Jesus is always with me. You know, I'm safe because Jesus is like, I was like, all right, cool. And then I get my letter like maybe 3 days later, and I was like, oh,
Jesus. Oh, dude, that's so funny. I always tell the story. When I worked at Best Buy, I had my buddy Gary that I worked with, and he's like, hey, this guy's name is Jesus, a guy's car that we were working on. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, a lot of Mexican dudes, their name is Jesus. He's like, oh, okay. So I was like, hey, can you, because the guy's in the store, hey, can you page Jesus over the intercom, let him know that his car is ready, dude? It's like, yeah. Would customer Jesus Mendez come to the install bay? And I'm fucking dying, bro. This dude called him Jesus. Oh shit! Damn, Jennifer,
yeah. No more French fry feeding for me. You know what I mean? Like but it was like this like incredible timing, because then I was like single,
yeah,
and this like
I'm lit shit
micro celebrity. You know what I mean? And just everywhere I go, it was just like entourage and just crazy, groupie, wild, whatever. You know,
yeah.
Just like it was cool. You know, and I think I was trying to do a lot, you know, but my love was still cars. My love was still racing. My love was still trying to do more. And it was always, you know, I always had a heart. I always care. I've always, since I was young, it hasn't changed. I've always cared about people. So I'm always down to help people. And so, and that was it. It was like, I wanted to bring this group of people up and put them on.
Your entourage.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so even like, no matter what the legacy that they had with me, you know, if I knew them for a little bit, then they were just hanging around or whatever, I wanted to bring everybody up. Right. And it was just like, at one point it turned.
Yeah.
It all turned when I was just kind of like, and I was doing a lot, man. Like I was racing. I like got into racing some off-road stuff. I was doing road course stuff. I got my SCCA license. I was doing a ton of stuff. And at one point I was just like, what's going on? You know, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like my homies didn't feel like my homies. And, you know, I just kind of like was hearing stuff, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. So I was just like, hey, I'm chill. I'm going to take some time and figure this out. And as soon as I was like, flip the light switch off, like on the whole, like, yo, we're going to, you know, all this and that, everyone, their colors came out.
Yeah.
You know, they were like talking shit and this and that, and just like all of this stuff, them going behind my back. And it wasn't anything more than ego, right? It was their own ego.
Yeah. And
they just wanted to be the man without putting the work in, you know? And, you know, it's like, it was hard. It was a heartbreak. You know, that's one of my heartbreaks in this life, was just like, damn.
So it never clicked in your head when these people started to come around after the show that their intentions, you were just inviting?
Because I look at the world through my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, my eyes I look at the world through, I care. You know what I mean? And I don't, even with like an ego and being like a little jackass, you know what I mean? Like I still care, right? Even like whatever, you know, like I still care.
Yeah.
And so I don't really look at it like that. And so I didn't really think that that was like, oh damn, that's like a thing. You know, people chasing this like fame, riding that coattail, trying to be that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? And so, you know, and then it was so many years later, right? I had pretty much every single one of them came back and apologized.
Yeah.
And said, yo, and thanked me and said, yo, I'm sorry. And you did nothing but tried to help us. You did nothing but taught us. You would take time and teach us how it worked, how this industry worked, how cars worked, how to work on this and that. And, you know, no joke, they were just like, I learned pretty much everything I'm doing now through you. And they said, I didn't realize how hard it was to maintain sponsorship and how hard it is when you get sponsored, what you have to do to pay that back.
Yeah.
And that was the conversation for a lot of them, is they're just like, yo, it's hard.
What do you mean pay that back? Don't you just get parts for free and don't got to worry about shit? Like,
that's, you know, just sponsor me because I sent you like some cool pictures of my car. I'm gonna be
I
at
thought you
this
just had
show.
a rocket sticker.
Nah, man. Yeah, I just got a sponsor. No, man. It's people don't realize that, you know, it's like you have to work. You work, no joke, you work harder for that shift knob than if you would have just bought it.
Yeah.
No joke. Like
Yeah.
if you're not thinking about that, if you're not thinking about paying these people back for what their support, like you're in the wrong game. Like don't even try. Like, don't message people and be like, yo, sponsor me, I'm gonna be at this show. Like, yo, have a plan.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, there's so many people. There's social media makes it so easy for so many people with dope builds to just like get on. So what are you offering, right? Yeah. Offer something more and be prepared to go above and beyond than whatever that, you know, $200 worth of product is. You know what I mean? You're building relationships, you're building a family, right? And if you're not thinking long-term, don't even waste anyone's time. Don't waste a business's time about like asking for anything just because you're a broke kid who wants to build a race car. Like I understand that.
Yeah.
I was a broke kid wanting to build a race car. You know, I didn't come from money. I paid for all this stuff. You know, I paid for all my builds and there wasn't a lot of companies at the time. You had to kind of make your own stuff. You had to figure it out. But the people who supported me at the time, like I'm super grateful for those people. Like my industry sponsor, my first sponsor was Toyo Tires. And I built the CRX and I had smaller ones. I feel like I had smaller like shop sponsors, maybe like little things. But my first real like industry sponsor was Toyo Tires, and it was Greg Vandermark. Worked at Toyo Tires. I went down there. I remember my homie's dad, Scott Schroeder, rest in peace. So he helped me. He worked at Kinko's, right? And so we sat down and he helped me put together my first proposal. And my first proposal, I still have it. It was like with the CRX. It's like I got into canyon racing. I had crashed. I like almost killed myself going off the edge a couple times.
Oh wow!
You know, because when the street racing would stop, I'd start going to the canyons, and I think I followed some like old timer, like old school, like Mark IV Supras and stuff up. What was it? Azusa Canyon. Like I was coming, I saw these cars exit. I was like, "Yo, cars!" I'm like, "Huh? Cars?
Yeah.
I'm in." I followed them up Azusa, and they were fast, man. It was cool, and I love driving. And these guys were just like old school Japanese dudes who were just like killing it. And that's just what they did. They would meet up and go drive Azusa. And I'm in my little DA Integra, right? Just like coming from the street races because it got shut down and blocked off, and I almost got arrested. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, all right, spot's hot, so I'm gonna go cruise up. And like, I saw them, and I got off and followed them up, and so like that's how I got into like road course racing. It's canyons.
Yeah.
Canyons, like I fell in love with the canyons, man. I fell in love with turning corners, and it almost killed me a couple times. You know what I mean? Some trees caught me. Was able to add that kind of experience where your car is like teetering, on the brink of destruction. I had some guys stop and like sit on the back, and yeah, I was actually backed off, so they sat on the front. And I was able to drive the car back on. So I was like, oh, okay, I built a race car.
Yeah.
And that was the genesis for the CRX. That's like the core of building that CRX. And also I wanted to challenge myself with building a race car, like a real race car. Roll cage, like that was my first roll cage, my first paint job, built the supercharger kit. Everything was like, I built it. It was me in my little garage just building something that's like, that's that spark, right? That's that creative spark. Like, it's going to be this way. It's this culmination of all the cool stuff I always wanted to do. And so, yeah, man, I remember making that proposal. Yeah, with Scott, and finished it. It was like cool, man. It was like bound, had that, that spirally kind of bound stuff on the side of it. Had like a clear cover sheet. It had the picture of the CRX. It had some cool pictures, and it had kind of talked about some of the stuff I was like, talked about the car. And this is, you gotta understand, this is like 99, 98, probably 98, 99, before JDM was JDM. I mean, at the time, our industry was just like huge body kits on Civics, and like just like 4 sets of super taillights, like molded in. Like, I mean, we made Bondo stock go up.
Yeah.
That's like, not we, but our industry kind of made that shoot up. And, here's me like, yo, JDM. People are like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no, so you don't have a flared out, no, I want to road race, and I'm right-hand drive. And they're just kind of like, Greg Vandermark's like, this is a cool proposal. Like, I'll give you tires.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Just like had a meeting with him. He looked at the proposal, and it was just like, yeah, we'll give you tires. And I was so stoked, man. I just remember I put them all over my stuff. I painted them into the car. Yeah. Toyota Tires is like painted into the car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
So late 90s, did you stick in your area in Orange County, or did you ever make it out to like the LA area and kind of, mingle with some of those guys?
Yeah, I went everywhere. San Diego. We'd go down to San Diego street race. We'd go down to San Diego to shows. Like the time I met Gabe back in the 90s, he just passed away. He was like engineering concepts. But yeah, man, we went all over. We went up to Sacramento, and then I was also traveling with like the Sport Compact drag racing series, like NYRA, NHRA, Import, IDRC. Like all of those, I would travel the country with those teams. So I'd help out like the Bergenholtz, Ron and Ed Bergenholtz. I'd help out like Lisa Kubo, Gary Lisa Kubo, Aaron Schley, like all motor car. Like I would, and then shoot, man, I eventually got into making like drivetrain parts. And that was Pro Drive.
Were you ever around Papadakis back then?
Yeah, all the time. I used to street race with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a little black Civic, and we would see each other at the street races all the time. And like we just, if you were a street racer back then, you knew each other. Like you knew that little group, especially if you were like an Orange County kid. Yeah. We all kind of knew each other. And so, yeah, Ontario or different places like that, I'd see them.
Do you ever trip out that you guys all ended up kind of in the same community now? Fast forward with 20 over
it's
whatever
cool.
years.
It's really cool. Anyone still doing it, it's like really cool. Yeah. Like Jojo Kalos was he spots for Kearney, Dean Kearney. It's the Viper car.
Gotcha.
And I get to see him sometimes, and then Ron Bergenholtz is out there. He runs the
shout out to Ron,
Nitto program. And
love Ron.
Ed was out there the other day. It was really cool. Like I just was cruising by on the bike. I think I had like a fuel jug over my shoulder, and I don't know. I was just like, oh, dude.
He was working with Jason Park from FCS. Yeah, he was driving the Ghost Rider, the car. Shout out to Jason from FCS. He just got his personal best over at World Cup this past weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
What was his time?
I think it was straight 8-0. It was 800 some other number.
In the all-wheel drive?
No, it's not all-wheel drive. Yeah, it's Sport Front. Yeah.
I think I saw the in-car. I thought he posted the in-car video.
I hadn't seen that. Yeah. But 10 years going, man. Yeah. Shout out to him. Yeah, but yeah, it's cool to see all the OGs still at it. I have Lisa on Facebook, and she looks like she's building too.
Really?
Yeah, not only her muscles, but building another car.
Yeah, she's getting strong.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's crazy to see that so many people from that side of things, you know, the creation of the street racing and the popularity of the Honda scene and things like that. Fast forward, you know, 20 plus years, they're in the drift in scene.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dude. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think racing is just contagious,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think that when it's something you get good at, it's just in your blood. So I used to manage and then crew chief for Matt Van Kirk, and he was a Formula Drift driver, and he's a homie too. So he's from Washington, because I've been living part-time in Washington and then back in California for a bunch of years. I just love it up there. I love the people. It's just a different vibe. You know, they're just different. It's just different people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just maybe because it rains all the time and you got to be cool. I don't know. They're just, the car scene too is sick, man. There's just like a whole street race scene up in like Kent, Washington, and there's street drifting, there's street racing in like one place. And that like you can just choose. You're like, oh, I want to go street drift tonight, or I want to go street race tonight.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but so Matt, I was with him all the way from Pro-Am all the way up into like Pro 1 for Formula Drift, which is hard to do. And we did it in like 4 years, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, on like nothing, like next to nothing budget. And so, yeah, so it was like after him. So he did a full Pro 1 season, and then he was even on that Motor Trend show with me. And then there was some drama that happened, and we could jump into that later. But they ended up like pulling those episodes, which like sucked. And then his family, like his parents, like had some relationship issues. Yeah, everything fell apart for him. And so he was just like, and he's like such a sweet kid, and he had some ex who was just like bashing him, like telling like lies and making stuff up. And I saw everything, so I knew how much like BS it was. But it just broke his heart, you know, because he's like really a sensitive dude, and he's one of the most natural talented drivers I've ever seen. Like it's crazy. So he goes to Australia, and they put him in a car. They have him say like, well, why don't you drive our Australian drift series? They put him in a car, and I think he finished like second overall in the season points. I think he took a couple podiums, like first race, never driving this car before, right-hand drive, never driving right-hand drive before. Insane, right? Like it's just Matt. Matt's like amazing.
Yeah.
So he didn't do the next year, so I wasn't with the team. And so I went to that first race just to go. I took Mia, my little girl, and we're just like checking it out. And it was weird. It was weird not being on a team. It's weird being there because there's a vibe that you feel. There's a vibe when you're at a Formula Drift event, any race, right? There's just something that gets in you that you just love being around that. And it was weird, man. I felt out of place.
Being in the stands
being a
versus
spectator, yeah. Just going around talking to all the homies and all the teams that I knew, and for so many years, you know, because a lot of them I've known from way before, you know, way before even working with Matt Van Kirk, you know, and so it was just like Kyle Mohan, and you just seeing him, and it was like, and I remember at that event, Kyle's like, yo, we need another guy.
Yeah. And
we need a guy like you who's positive and doing whatever. And so I talked to Jeff a little bit, and that's kind of what kicked that off. So Kyle's pretty bad at getting back to people. Yeah. So I called him a couple times to go meet up, and he's just super busy. You know what I mean? Like we all are. I understand. So then I think it was either right before, I think it was right before Jersey. Jeff called me, and he's like, yo, you know, like, hey, I need a dude. Like, we talked a little bit, and I was just like, yeah, I'm down. You know, let's do this. And Jeff's a super good dude. You know, he's the homie for sure. He's just like whatever you see, like when you see somebody, it's so rare you meet people who are just exactly, it's the same with their family, with their friends, with their sponsors, with the interviews. Like he's the same good dude. He just loves doing it.
Gotcha. And
I didn't know that till I got out. My first event with him was St. Louis, and I get out there, fly out, and it's like, and I know Paul from Nexon, and they have like a rad VIP spread at every round. They have like catering, it's like barbecue, all this good food, and so he was on Nexon. We were on the team was on Nexon at the time, and I was just like, yo, let's get some of that VIP spread. I've done it like a few times on Matt's team, whatever, just cruised in there. He's like, yeah, you guys eat, whatever. And so Jeff's like, hey, he's like, you can roll in there. I could roll in there, but I can't bring my 10 guys or whatever, And he's like, if my crew doesn't eat, I don't eat it. And I was like, dope. I respect that. And so it was the end of the day. I think we got knocked out, top 6, we got knocked out top 16 or top 32, we got knocked out. And so he comes rolling in the pits. You can see him for a second. He comes rolling in the pits with like stacks of the catering trays in his hand. Those aluminum tins, what I mean? Comes rolling and sets it all up. He's like, all right, next in VIP buffet for all my crew. He brought it. He like took their leftovers and took the extras and just brought it to us. He's like, we're gonna eat good today. And that was the moment I knew like I love this team. You know what I mean? Like Jeff's the homie, and like I'm in the right place.
What year was this?
This was my third year with Jeff, so this was essentially 3 years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but so touching into the question about why do you think we're all still in it? It's because we love it. We love it. We got good at doing it because we love it.
Yeah.
And it's weird not to. It's like you always kind of have to once you get this far in. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who've done it, who've gotten out of it, who just think about it all the time.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
Because it's hard to maintain, right? Like it's hard to stay in it. It's an expensive sport. It's an expensive hobby. Whatever level you're at, it's expensive, right? And if you're putting everything you have into it, it's like it's gonna, you're either gonna figure out a way to sustain it, or it's gonna just dry you up and burn you out.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is that I've always told people is always try to maintain a balance, right? Because this will burn you out. That's long hours. It's brutal. Like I do fabrication, I do metal fabrication to build things I want to build, because you could bolt anything on a car, right? You could buy anything and bolt it on, but when you really get into the artistry of it, you got to cut some stuff. You got to cut your car. You got to fab some stuff. You got to make some stuff that never existed. Because if you're an artist, it's never going to be exactly the way it needs to be. And so, like you're just going to look at it, you're going to have a concept, and I make crazy things that are never supposed to be that way, right? And that no one's ever done. That's what I do. But it burns you out.
Yeah.
Finishing Pepper, my school bus, I was so burnt out, because it was normally I do a thing where I work hard, I play hard, right? But play hard doesn't mean like go party it up for me. It means like I would go up to Washington and just relax and like spend time with my friends, and like this is before Mia. I would go spend time with like my homies up there, go street race, go this, go that. But the last 2 years of Pepper, let me explain Pepper. It's crazy. This is like, so Pepper's a school bus, and I had the concept. I always wanted to own a school bus, but if I were to drive a school bus, I'd be that weirdo that drives a school bus.
Yeah.
Right. Like without a purpose, I would just be that weirdo that drives a school bus. Yeah. Right. So, but I wanted to build a car hauler out of a school bus. I thought that would just be the best. I'd never seen it before. And I thought that would be the coolest way to go to the racetrack. And, I had that concept back after the MTV show. It just took me 8 years to finally pull the trigger on it, because life, right? Or just not even because life, I can't even put it on that. It's because that was when it needed to happen, right? There's like a divine like flow in all of my life that I'm very grateful for, and people call it God, people call it universe, people call it whatever, purple monkey dishwasher, whatever people call it. You know what I mean? Like, I just say creator, you know, because I have a lot of time with like the Tulalip tribe up in Washington, and it's just, there's a lot of like native ways that just refer to creator, right? And it just, it resonates with me. And so people, it's like whatever, you know, it resonates with you, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, source, whatever people say. But for me, it's creator. And the creators, just, I believe, kept me alive, you know, and for a reason. And I think I didn't really hear it or fully like accept it until I had a really terrible breakup with an ex, and I hit just like bottom, you know, and then there was like a purpose, you know, and I think that bottom is like, there's a lot of insight in hitting bottom, you know. And anyways, we'll touch on that later. Back to Pepper, right? So it's all like this divine providence to get this bus and this time, and there's crazy timing in my life. There's crazy timing, and we haven't even touched on this on selling everything and buying a school bus and sailing around the world yet.
We're gonna have to have a couple episodes, huh?
Just put pins in it, man, and go part 2 and part 3, you know? Like, we can keep this going for a long
Hell
time.
yeah, let's do it.
You know what I mean? Walk out, the sun's coming up. Oh, shit, we started at noon yesterday. Like, what happened? How did we get here? Where are we?
But I get what you mean. I don't mean to cut you off, but how do you know that it's the right time to build Pepper, to make these certain moves, to make these changes? What is it that clicks in your head like, okay, I got to do this now?
I just listen, right? When I left, I did a lot of meditation, and I did a lot of just listening. And when you're on the ocean in a boat and there's nothing around, you have to listen, you know. And I think part of that whole experience was to lose myself, right? Because everybody talks about finding yourself, but you can't really find yourself until you really lose yourself. Yeah, because we're all operating on old paradigms, and you know, the way we're raised, and you know, examples of like relationship, and examples of, you know, all the things we stand for that comes from our parents and whatnot, you know, the things we see growing up, and society's example and whatnot. We can't ever really find yourself until you shed that skin, right? And I call that just losing yourself. And it takes a lot to lose yourself. And I think you got to get away from all the people that hold you to who you were, right? Because people hold you to who you were. And I think, you know, I know a lot of people out there can resonate on this, is that, you know, like you always if you're trying to do better, you always have some homie that's like, yo, no, just come and, you know, just come and get wasted, or like, oh, like just skip your job tomorrow or whatever. Later, yeah. But they're like, they're looking at you from who you were. Like, you used to be this, whatever, you know, like that's why it's hard to get away from like a lot of addiction, and people have a culture of addiction. And so it's hard for them to get away from that, because people will still look at them for who they were. And so, you know, and that's part of it, is I got away from all of it. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot. Wow. Because there was a time I joined the Marine Corps.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. Dude. But because a lot of my homies were getting like locked up or killed or whatever, it was like things kind of got out of hand it wasn't street racing world. It was the fact that the street racers, where there was a lot of Asian gangster influence into it. And they were all cool people, but still, you know what I mean? It was a rough crowd, but they were all respectful and really nice, amazing people, and they love cars and this and that, but they were doing some gnarly stuff. Like, I don't know, you know, Vit Lam, he just got out of prison, you know, and so he was just like, that's some gnarly stuff, right? And this was going on. That's not like an isolated event. There was a lot of that going on. So I was like, yo, I gotta get out. I gotta like find a way out. So then there was the Marine Corps, right? And that got me away from all that stuff. But like, you know, my past actually caught up with me. Because when I was in the Marine Corps, some like you know, those early street racing days came with a lot of dirt. You know, like we all did dirt. You know, we all like not just street racing, but car parts and this and that. We got into trouble.
Yeah.
And so that caught up with me, and then that eventually got me out of this Marine Corps. But you know, like gratefully, I got an honorable discharge. So, but you know, I went from like Marine Corps to jail.
How long were you in jail for?
For a while.
Really?
Yeah, I was in jail for I think 8 months.
Wow. What was that like?
Sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked. So, yeah, I don't recommend it. You know, I mean, it's like, it's, I don't think there should be a cool aspect to it, because it's like hanging out with all the idiots that you went to high school with in one place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, maybe that rebel mentality, you know what I mean? Like F the law, F this, F that, which is fine. You know, I grew up, that's like part of me. You know what I mean? Like I'll always remember who I am. That's why I didn't do any of like the Racers Against Street Racing. You know, remember that? It was like Rasser.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of that. Steph did that. Like a bunch of those guys did that, but I just couldn't ethically. Like I can't like condone. I can't like not condemn.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can't condemn street racing. It raised me.
Yeah.
I can't. I never will. You know, and even like takeovers, right? Like a lot of people in the industry have a pretty sour taste on takeovers.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot. It sucks for the end user and the enthusiast, because they're getting lumped into that. Sucks for the street racer who are going out racing, you know, far away from all that. They're getting lumped into that.
Facts.
But just like drifting came along, just like canyon racing came along, our industry will evolve, right? And there are people who, like, there are like sideshow guys, right? Takeover guys who are moving into drifting. I've been hearing this. There's
in a
few,
Caprice?
whatever, in Fox Body, most likely. I'm hearing these little stories trickle out.
Yeah.
These people who are just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna level up.
I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
You know,
And they're pretty good. I mean, you got to avoid people running in front of you. You know, drift track is going to be a lot like easier to navigate than like, you know, 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard for me to like even look at that. And most of the time people are just like, yo, yeah, screw that. It sucks and this and that. But I'm looking at it like, okay, like as much as we don't want to accept it, this is still car culture.
Yeah.
You know, as much as like, and it's just, I think a lot of people, they don't understand it. And I don't believe, like, okay, go to one and then, you know, go to a couple and then talk about it. Right. But that's like a lot of our society is like people who don't understand something and they're negating it. Right. I don't think that's fair. Right. I think go to it. It might suck for a lot of people trying to get through an intersection, but we, you know, and that's not the way we did it in the day, but times change. People change. I mean, there's a reason we don't give these people, it's not an easy thing to go and do, to go and drift a car. There's not a lot of places you can go do that.
Yeah.
And then they're not drifting, they're doing donuts, which is becoming its own thing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's going to be, I mean, we see it at the Burnyard in SEMA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're shining light on it, but how are we not accepting this street community, who's a community who there's crews that just do that, right?
Yeah.
So as much heat as we're all getting, doing other things for driving our cars or this and that, I think to disavow that is a huge mistake. And I think it's all part of street racing. You know, I think it's all part of what we do in some aspect, you know?
Yeah, I can see what you mean by there. I think I've been very critical of that community
Right.
for the reason of the culture that is there. personally, I feel that it's less enthusiasts and more people that are into chaos, because personally, that's why I would go to see some sort of chaos going on, and that's why I don't go, because I don't think that it's responsible of me to be there to witness this sort of chaos. And we've probably seen at least 10, 20 people. I've seen at least 10, 20 people die from takeovers just on WorldStar or shared on videos.
Right.
And that's kind of the aspect that I look at it. I get what you mean, that if it was, we're taking over this spot so we can, practice our cars and drift around and things like that. But then when you see some people crash and then everybody jumps onto the cars, beats the cars, breaks the windows. Someone's trying to get through the intersection. They break the windows. There's children inside of the cars. Yeah. It's very hard for me to lump that into what we do.
Right. It's Wild West.
Yeah, for sure.
So 100% it's Wild West. But I mean, if you really think about it, the early days of street racing were Wild West.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us were packing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
packing heat,
sure.
carrying guns.
Yeah, and I remember when Ron was on the podcast, he talked about like some bad stuff, that really happened back then. Yeah. And it's just a lot of people from back, even Steph was on the podcast and he talked about like that culture back in the day. So I totally get that. And who knows what that can turn into.
Right.
But I really see that.
There was kids at the street races. There was like people would bring their little kids to the street races.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no, and that's part of it too. There's no OGs in that scene. Right. And all the OGs in other scenes are just like, nah, don't do that. And I don't think we're in any place to talk. We're in no place to say, don't do that.
Yeah.
Not at all, ever.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, you know what I mean? Like there's probably an influence if OGs would be on like, yo, like button it up. You know what I mean? Like, cool, do it. But like, let's make sure people don't get killed,
Yeah.
Like how do we solve that? You know what I mean? Like, Like that's not the culture.
But I don't even think that has to do with the cars. I think that's just the teen culture, or not even teens, but young people, their culture. Right. Just like everything that just happened with the Astro World. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No, that's pretty gnarly.
It's just it makes you think like, man, if these people that are sneaking in, breaking down gates or whatever, that's the mentality that they're going into this show with. If there's 50,000 of those people with that same mentality, dude, something bad is going to happen.
Right.
So who do you throw the blame on? Is it Travis? Is it the promoters? Is it the PD? Is it the medical staff? Or when do we just look at it and like, fuck, this is the culture that we've built. We're so desensitized to so much. My nephew, 5-year-old nephew, is desensitized because he just plays Fortnite and shit. So a kill to him is a victory. Right. A kill to him isn't. I mean, it's a video game, so I get it. But it's hard for him to distinguish. I'm gonna throw something at you and hurt you in real life,
right?
Or I'm gonna go on this video game and kill somebody and win. Like, where does he decipher? Right. So I feel like a lot of it has to do with the OGs coming in and say like, yo, maybe this isn't the way that we do it. Maybe I think it's Irwindale where they'll have it Thursdays where you can just go burn pit or whatever. And I see that as being definitely an opportunity, but it kind of scares me, man. Not only the takeover stuff, but like that sort of culture, that no respect for life, you know?
And that might be part of it,
But that's happened in everything. That's happened in street racing too. So
yeah, totally.
But
I think it's just like, that no regard for life. But that's part of being young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's part of being young is you don't think you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I remember I was young and immortal.
True.
You just don't think about it. It's not that there's a disregard for it. You just don't think about it. You don't think that your life is going to end, even when you see it.
Yeah.
You just don't think it's going to be you. So, you know, that's part of being young is like you're not looking at the clock.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not looking at the future like, oh, you know, this kind of thing could like alter my life forever. You know, like somebody kills somebody, you know, if you kill somebody with your car, you're going to get locked up for a while.
Yeah.
And like touching back on jail, it sucks. You know, it just sucks. It's like all the things that you take for granted, like freedom, your freedoms, like those are amazing, man. Like just being able to get up in the morning and do what you want to do. You're so lucky, right? There's a lot of people incarcerated who just can't, you know, and you're degraded because you're an inmate. Sucks. And I've been locked up before for street racing, you know, like it's nothing new.
Yeah.
But like this was like an extended stay and there ain't no Holiday Inn, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But like on like a long scale. So if you kill somebody with your car doing something negligent, like there's real consequences.
Yeah.
You know, like I had some homie hit a car, jump a divider and hit a car, and they were doing dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of Eugene's homies. Like one of my homies, I used to skate with him. We used to skate him and like Jonas Ray and my homie James and I used to skate, and he jumped a curb and hit a car, and it flipped the car. And had this girl driving it, she was jacked up. And they were racing on the street. Like we never did that.
Yeah.
Like we raced on the street, but they were racing like Imperial and
lights
Harbor
and
Boulevard,
shit,
right? Major
you.
intersection at like 8 at night.
Yeah.
And that just, you know, like he went and the car pulled out from the Albertsons or whatever it was. And then this car hooked left, this car avoided it, you know, and then jumped it. And Chris's car went submerged under the car and it flipped it. It was crazy. But it's like, these are consequences. He ended up going to jail for a while for that.
Yeah.
They hit the car. They hit in Eugene shop. They like hit it. I think they tried to paint it or something. But like somebody talked somewhere.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting like locked up.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of it, and we've been on both sides of it too. Right. Everybody listening, that if this is your culture, you've been on both sides of it, dude. You know, and I remember a few years back, they had that accident in the San Fernando at on Plummer, whereas the GTR, I believe a GTR and a Mustang, they were racing.
Yeah.
And one lost control, jumped the curb and killed, I think it was 2 people.
That was the Mustang, right?
Yeah. And then I remember when, it was the Mustang that did it. Yeah. And then I remember when that happened, I just seen so many people popping up about street racing and this and that. And I'm just like, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I've personally stood at that same exact spot where that person died at. You know, I knew the dangers of it. Not saying it's anybody's fault, but this shit is bad. It's illegal. This whole act is illegal. So it's the balance, dude. It is like, the takeover shit. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go there. It's not any part of my life. But it's hard for me to tell some people, like, don't do that, because when I was a kid, I was doing some shit.
Dumb shit.
And I was doing dumb shit. And it's just
dumb shit built this industry.
Exactly, dude.
Dumb shit. Like, respect it.
And I remember
everyone should respect it. The dumb shit we did in the 90s built this industry. Right? Not all of it, but what we do, what we love. Right? And so we should never turn our back on that.
Yeah. And now it's pretty now, and it has sponsors, and it's on TV, Formula Drift and all that. Yeah, but where did that come from? Like, where did that culture, all of this culture, where did all of this come from? And then it makes it hard to, you know, like you're saying, I can't condemn this stuff because this is what I was doing.
Totally.
You know, so it makes me look a certain way.
Well, I think that's the disconnect that happens a lot. And, you know, we're not, you know, I mean, it's like, we're not engaged in that area of, we're not engaged in the youth, essentially, right? And so there's a huge disconnect, right? And so what's interesting is that's what's been on my heart lately, is to, it's time for me to give back, and it's time for me to tell all these old stories, and it's time for me to kind of it's like weird, man. SEMA was beautiful in that regard, that it just like inspired me and also showed me like, yo, you were like, you got this going, you got all of this, you've been doing this for so long in a unique way.
Yeah.
I'm a weird hybrid, right? So I managed to stay like not sold out. I work in the industry, but I managed to kind of like maintain in the peripherals, where like I just didn't have to sell out and be corporate, because it's just that kind of shit chews up artists. It just like,
Definitely.
yeah, it just tears some feed on it, But it's just like I got to live these amazing experiences, and so now it's time to give back.
Yeah.
And so there was so much based on ego and fed by ego. That was like the fuel for a long time. And then now it's like service, right? So, a crew, I love being on a crew. I love being on a team, I love helping. Like, I get to help Jeff reach for his dream, that podium, that championship, that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I get to be a part of that, and I don't need to be in the front of that. I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I believe in it. And so that's kind of like everything else, is like, it's like once you realize you're not the machine, you're a small cog in a very large machine, and to be grateful to be that small cog, because you're useful, right?
Yeah.
And that makes you focus on like fixing the little small pieces that might cause that cause to break. So then you're solid. You're like a solid piece of that machine, right? Yeah. And you're grateful for that. And so it's like being of service is huge. You know what I mean? Like helping bring this industry to another level by telling where it came from, right? And by like helping to teach people to get where they're going, like for me, I did it my own way, and it's not like, yeah, man, like I follow my dream, I follow my heart, and so if I could inspire people, and it's inspiration is what I'm getting at, is to continually inspire people and encourage people like, yo, you could do it, instead of like this troll culture that we have now, which is like somebody comes out with something dope, it's dope. That was like, the Honda Tech days, Honda Tech meets and things like that. Like somebody came out, you're like, yo, it's dope, right? You were homies because it was dope. It was cool. Like you're like, yo, your build's cool, like whatever. There's a lot of positivity now. It's just like, yo, I'm just gonna be more low, or like that sucks, or that's whack, or everything is like, it has like gets beat up.
Yeah. Right.
Because of the reach, and because it's like people, it's like cool to troll. Like you'll get followers because you troll people.
Yeah.
It's like so I think the antithesis of that is to encourage people, is to take all of these projects, like Pepper, like all these different things, and do these events and go drive. I haven't driven it forever. I sold my race car, my drift car, to finish Pepper.
That's 13.
Yes,
Camo.
And then it came back to me.
Yeah, just recently, right?
Recently, yeah. Like 2 months after I finished Pepper, it came back. And so now it's like, what do I do? I don't even need the car.
Yeah.
But like it's like providence, you know what I mean? There's like a divine. When does that happen, man? You know what I mean? Like, when does that happen?
I guess you just got to see the signs, dude.
You got to just listen. And so, yeah, there's some cool stuff.
Well, you're definitely doing something right, man. You just got awarded Pit Crew Member of the Year for Formula Drift 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That was crazy.
Yeah, so your efforts are definitely being noticed. No matter if you're just a cog in the wheel.
Yeah, man, that's
huge.
That was huge.
That's huge, dude.
That was a cool Saturday, man. That's the Saturday so that was like Saturday before last.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like, I'm all excited because we're gonna take Mia to her her first skate competition, and I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. My girlfriend lives down in North County, San Diego. So we're just like, and it was in Elsinore. So it's kind of like was driving up to that. We're all in Pepper, and I'm getting these messages, like, and I see it on the top. You know, I was like, "Yo, congratulations!" It's like, what does this mean? Like, is this sarcasm? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then, you know, one of my good homies in Jersey, Austin, sick drifter. Like, this kid is like ripping out there, and he was actually on Van Kirk's team. Had him come out and crew for us, and he's like, "Yo, I want to do this," and I was just like, "Just do it. You got a little 886, like, just do it. Like, what are you waiting for? You know, you're gonna die someday. Like, you know, you could die in a year or 50. Like, you don't know. Just do it. Like follow your heart." And he's just like, "Yo," and then he did it. He just started drifting, and it was like 3 years. And when we were out there, he was like, got to drive Pro Bro Down, which is like at Club Loose. It's like this huge event. He dreamed about driving that. And then I was there for Formula Drift. They had shut down Englishtown from being a drag strip and turned it into like a drift track, which is like crazy. That's like times are changing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy because I was there for like IDRC and like NHRA events, and it's just like, well.
So what's where the track is now?
It's a figure 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my, because they already had the drift track on the outside.
They have a drift track, but we race on the you still see it. They just paved a figure 8 into it. It's wild.
Oh my God.
And it's blocked off at the end. And then there's like RV, like trailer parking beyond it.
Wow.
Like, or it's an auction lot, is what they rent it out to.
Oh, like auction. Because they would have swap meets and stuff there too.
Yeah, but it's like an
Gotcha,
auction lot. It's like after I would probably be, no, it's obviously past 60-foot mark, but it's like the 100. No, I don't know. Yeah, half track maybe.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's like a end of the track, and that's where the drift track is.
Speaking about an end, bro, that's an end of an era, dude.
Totally.
My God, I'm glad I made it out there.
Yeah,
for sure, dude. To see that, but
Englishtown, man, they do like Honda days out there. That's so they do Honda days out there.
Yeah, so they would do.
I
went out there for probably at least like 5 or 6 H days before, maybe even more than that there, and then Atco. But it was just it had its own sort of feeling.
Had its own vibe. Englishtown, yeah. It did, bridge, man. You know, just the way it was driving through the bridge.
Yeah,
Englishtown was just like.
Shout out to Englishtown, dude. But I mean, you just got to grow with the times.
You got to grow with the times, yeah. And they're just like they're like drift track is awesome.
Yeah,
they're like side drift track is awesome. And Austin's like basically almost lives at the track. He's there all the time. He does a bunch for the track, but. It was his like first time driving Pro Down, and he was just like so stoked I was there, because he's like my brother. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I stayed a few extra days. We got to cruise around the Hachi, and it was like, it's like this little spark just being out there, right? Just like summertime, windows down, you know, just like the smell of an old car, especially like an old 86 is just like. Brings back that feel, you know, the exhaust smell, the rumble of the exhaust, cruising around, hitting some spots, like staying out late kind of thing. Just like it really spoke to me. Yeah. You know, and I think that this industry is with cars and with what you do, it's just like it's like a marriage, right? Like, you have to find those moments to fall back in love with it again. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's so easy to get busy and get so far away from that and to forget, like, I love this stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, look back at me and it's like, you're not giving me the time I deserve. Not like the work your ass off and make something of yourself, but you're not putting back in. You know what I mean? Not in like you're not like out hopping in your car, banging gears. Yeah. Going to this drift event or go just street driving. Like, we rolled to a meet the other night. I've been to a meet in a while, but I took my little, like, I got this Nissan hardbody D21 with this wedge back. It's my spaceship. Yeah. You know? I actually built it when Pepper broke. It was my little hyper mile vehicle because I drive all over the country doing fun stuff and weird stuff. But drove that, and there was another hard body there, and another guy rolled up, and he's like, "Yo, I had this hard body. It's on the bags," and he was showing me pictures, and it was just like, yeah, this is what's missing in my life.
Damn, dude. You just hit me with that one, bro, about it being a relationship, dude. And,
Totally.
you know, I've been in a relationship with this community for, 10 plus years now, and probably right before I started, about right when I started the podcast, about 2018, I was just getting burnt out, dude. Every year was the same thing. The niche that I was in, it just started to get less interesting than it was in the past. The veil was being lifted, so people that I looked up to, I got to see who they really were, and things like that. Just the normal things of being in any sort of industry.
Right.
Insert your industry here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So it's I had to find a spark for it, and I've been looking for it, and then I just probably not long ago I just sat down and had a realization. It's like, yo, well, you haven't driven either of your Hondas in over 2 years. So last year we didn't go to any meets or shows. You usually do at least like 10 a year.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? What are you doing to keep this passion alive? What are you doing to feed this sort of passion? And I never looked at it like that, because I never looked at it as a relationship. I looked at it as something that was there, and I'll hop in when I'm in and then hop out when I'm out. But when I'm out, how can I expect any sort of love or anything like that? How am I gonna get love for my car or what I've built, my art, when I'm not going to the art show?
Totally.
You know what I mean? Right. So something like that really sparked up in me, and I'm coming back out with my right-hand drive.
Cool.
So fucking stoked for it, dude. And it's getting that feeling, dude.
SIRS.
Yeah. Watch. Let me actually show you.
Those are rare.
Yeah. The only person that I knew that had one was Mickey from Throttle, and I'm super surprised that he just got rid of it. I don't know if you've seen it.
I was there. I think I found it for him.
Really?
Yeah, because he got it from YLM.
Uh-huh.
And if you look on my CRX, that's one of the stickers on it is YLM. And yeah, no, I think I'm the one that, it's been a long time, but yeah, it's beautiful.
It's coming out soon, guys.
I ain't gonna show you. I think you can see by my face that this is beautiful.
But yeah, the SIRS, Mickey was the only one that I knew that had that. And shout out to Mickey, dude. Mickey's probably one of the greatest dudes that I've met in this industry. And you're probably talking about like maybe 2 handfuls of people, if that. But yeah, shout out to Mickey.
I got stories about Mickey.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got stories.
Thank you, brother.
I met Mickey on the Nopi tour, Super Street Nopi tour.
Yeah, because he's been in it forever too.
Well, he was in, I think he was coming from Ohio, and he was on that tour. It was the East Coast leg. They do different legs, and I was hosting a show for something importaccess.net or something like that. It was like I don't even know if I have a copy of that, but so I was doing the whole Nopi East Coast tour. So we started in Maryland and come down. And I met him, and he had his right-hand drive. It's EM1. I think it was a right-hand drive EM1.
Okay. And
it was clean. It was cool. It was different than all the other stuff. It was my style, and I appreciated that. So we became friends. And I remember he did all the carbon overlays and all the door handles and a bunch of stuff. It had a bunch of neat little intricate things that I really appreciated. And I think my DC2 was getting shipped out because it was sponsored by STR, and so they put it in their big hauler rig and brought it out to the show. So I would hop in everyone else's cars.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd hop in like his car. I rode in his car for a little bit. I rode in some other people's car. I rode in.
Oh, you're all just driving?
I was filming and driving.
Gotcha.
I hopped in some, like, at the time S2000s were like pretty new. And I hopped in this yellow S2000 with this, like, she ended up being a stripper from Georgia, and she was just loved her car, and like, it was wild. It was wild because we would go to hotels at night, we'd go to different races, like do some like drag racing on the way down, and there was all these different spots. It was wild, man.
Yeah,
it was wild, and I learned something valuable on that trip. Now, sort of a non sequitur from Mickey, but I rode with this girl in this S2000, right? And she was so stoked that she did these. Remember the windshield wiper LEDs, the squirter LEDs?
Mm-hmm.
It was like huge for a while. She was so stoked. It took her like 4 hours to install her windshield wiper squirter LEDs.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, because we look at something being like high level builders, we look at stuff like, okay, that's, you know, that guy's starting out or whatever. And in the early days with ego, you're like, oh, that's like kind of below me.
Definitely.
Right. And it was that event, that riding with that girl, Tiffany.
That sounds like a stripper name.
Kind of.
Shout out to all the Tiffs out there.
Yeah, it's amazing Tiffany's. I know some amazing Tiffany's. Hey, Tiffany, you taught me a valuable lesson, and I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. You know what I mean? I hope you finally put yourself through college. You know what I mean? That was your goal. But
that's all their goals, dude.
I don't know. So she was so stoked on it, and I saw this spark in her eye.
Yeah.
That was like the same spark that I feel when I just build this crazy turbo kit, or, you know, do this crazy roll cage or whatever. It's that same feeling, man. And it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not any different than she is.
Yeah.
I'm not any different than some kid putting some coilovers on his car for the first time. I'm not any different. That feeling isn't any different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, whoa.
That's such a crazy realization, dude.
Hits hard.
And that's so crazy that you say that, bro, because like I've got stuff in my life that if I was a child would have absolutely blown my mind. But me getting it now, it doesn't feel like I thought it was supposed to feel. You know what I mean? So I look at it like when you have happiness and joy, that's just a feeling, and and there's a certain level to that.
Right.
And no matter if you're getting a new car or what have you, or you're getting a new air freshener, you're on the same level. Your happiness is just going up. Right. You know, it's just a different perspective of things. So it's like, man, dude.
You heard that in like Beagle talking about his Cadillac.
Exactly.
And his like 22-inch Diablos that were on it. You know what I mean? And he was just so stoked on that Cadillac. And it's not my style, but he was so stoked. It's the same, man.
It's the fucking same. So how skateboarding, how Reynolds would feel landing some crazy ass trick versus how I would feel landing a tray flip. Maybe my feeling is going to feel way more than his feeling will, because I don't know if that's even the right word, but being desensitized to happiness of like lower things, you know. Say if I was to get a new set of wheels right now, I would be stoked because I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I'm gonna get these wheels, put them on, this and that. But when I got wheels when I was first starting off, when I got my first brand new set of work equip 03s, I don't know if I could ever replicate that feeling. I don't know if I ever can. I don't know if at like from wheels to wheels, the same thing.
Yeah.
Even if I had a set of 24 karat gold work equip 03s, whatever, I don't even know if I would feel the same way that I did back then.
Right.
Because it's like, I don't know if it's the life and the experiences that you go through. Yeah, it's amazing to feel like that, but it kind of like desensitizes, or makes you feel like, I don't know if I could reach that sort of level again.
I think that life, as it goes by, and this is I remember Henry Rollins saying this, and you know who Henry Rollins is. He's a black singer for Black Flag.
Okay.
Right. So he had Rollins band after that. It's like punk rock stuff, right?
Okay.
The 90s punk rock. So he had a spoken word box set that remember I was sleeping on a homie's. This is in that like living on the roof of Troy and living in a treehouse and living on the homie's floors, skater homie's floors. And remember, he put this box life set on. It was like probably on tape, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
8-track or something way back, you know? I'm not that old enough.
Laser disc.
No, before that, like tape, right?
Yeah.
And he put this on and it was talking. I remember, I never forget this. Remember Henry was talking about the past, right? And how the past, you know, when you try and go back and relive that past, it all seems so sweet. It has that like Fast and Furious like tint to it, where it's that golden hour all the time for everything you did in the past, right? And it's like, and he describes it as this, as the past has like a gold plating on it. And it's, but he's like, it's paper thin gold plating, but everything looks amazing. It's like an ex-girlfriend that was terrible. She was terrible.
Yeah.
But like time goes by and you're like, whoa, that was some good
I
stuff.
miss her. We had a good time. Fucking went to Olive Garden. It was so good.
Unlimited breadsticks.
She ordered for me. She knew what I wanted. You hang on to the littlest fucking thing.
Yeah, but it's that paper thin, and I don't know if you've ever tried to go back and like relive any kind of like far in the past life, right? But it's like, it's just it's paper thin, the gold plate, right? The real gold in this world is right now. Right. So that's the gold. Like, this is gold right here. You know, you and I like sharing space, having this conversation is gold, man. Every breath you take is gold, right? It's not the past. It's that feeling you felt on those 03s. Like that's like, you have that today. You pick up your child.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's gold, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, so you have that feeling all the time, right? You're just prospectively, it's like, get another set of wheels, man. And look at that wheels and realize that that's gold. Get excited about it. Fall in love with those wheels. Fall in love with getting those wheels. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So you're right. We do desensitize, but I think looking back on everything, like, yo, I like that was the times, like those for me. I'm always looking at like, yo, these are the days. Like, I don't look back.
Yeah.
I have to tell that story, because a lot of people, it sparked a lot for a lot of people. You know, like there's a lot of that's, you know, like we were talking about earlier, all those messages I get, like it sparked a lot for a lot of people. So I tell that story, right? Like I tell that story as it goes down, but I don't ever really seek to go back there. Like I still have the CRX, you know what I mean? And I'll repop that. I'll finish it. You know what I mean? Like I'll get it back out and get it together. Original, the way that like I stopped working on it. I'll get it out the way it was intended as that.
Yeah.
But like, it'll be something different internally. You know what I mean? But it'll be all finished, those little details I want. But there's so much more to live than in the past. You know what I mean? And that'll mean a lot for a lot of people. So it'll be a really dope build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people will like, I already have all the cool pieces and bits, and it's like that retro, like all the original, like I still have all that. I still have everything. Like the Fields, like VTech controller, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. I still have it.
Yeah.
It all plays, but it's like, I gotta do a little spin on it.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's mine, I can do whatever I want with it. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's gonna sound the same. I think that means a lot to a lot of people. But that being said, it's like life moves forward, man. You know what I mean? Like I live this exciting life every day. I get to be grateful for my life every day. And, you know, I think that's important to maintain that feeling. You know what I mean? Like to maintain that, like that love for it. Fall in love with it again, man.
Yeah.
Fall in love with it all again, you know.
And I'm starting to feel it again. And it could be that I'm showing my car wife, I'm showing her a little love. Bitch, I'm busy. I don't got time for you. I'm working.
Yeah.
You know, I would never do that in my real life now, but I've definitely done that to my car career life. I'm busy. I got
Busy.
work. I got
Yeah.
things to do. I got a family. I don't have time for you.
Right.
But then I expect that feeling to still be there.
Right.
You know, I expect going to these shows and to like not feel that FOMO. Of course you're gonna feel it, dude. Like you see everybody out there having a great time and
Right.
they drove their car. Like I don't think I want to go to shows and set up booths anymore. I want to go to shows and be in shows
Be in
now.
shows, yeah.
I want to go to shows and be in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I want to do that stuff because that was when I had real fun. It was fun going to English Town and setting up and talking to people at the booth. You know what was more fun than that? Leaving there, going to fucking Wawa, going to eat with homies,
Totally.
going to the hotel, hanging out, smoking with them, kicking it, that's what's fun. Those memories are fun.
Well, you don't have to choose one. That's the cool thing is like just whatever feels right. But you know, your business is also important in a lot of people's lives too. So, you know, part of giving back is showing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with your stuff, with your product, it's a brand. You know what I mean? Like this is part of the brand.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like you are feeding, you're giving back to it, but you're also not giving to yourself.
Yeah. And
You're
that's
putting a lot in, but you got to feed yourself too. So maybe just going to shows for a little bit, just take your car, enjoy it. You know what I mean? And that'll spark other stuff that'll inspire you to show up with whatever, you know, like whatever it feels right, do that.
Dude, I had this combo with my wife and she said the same thing. You just got to start getting back into it. Next year, just get another car, build another car, you know, you got to do this for you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I do all of this and I'm not saying that I don't do this for me because, yeah, it's for me, but it's like it doesn't bring that excitement anymore like it did in the past. And not saying that doesn't exist. I just have to make it a priority to go get it.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to go get it. It's there. It didn't go away. It's still there. You just got to go get it.
Yeah.
Like my race car came back, my camo car came back, and I got a ton of cars. I got like 10 cars.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I feel you, dude.
So stupid. I have like when I built that mid motor car, I basically built a tube chassis NSX. Right, and then I just shelled it with a hatch. That's when I worked for Honda Tuning. But I got a tube chassis NSX like on the side of my house, like this on a strap to a cart.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
Yeah. Stupid. I know, and then you just, for me anyways, when I start having these feelings, start getting down, I just like take a step back. I'm like, wait, hold up, dude.
Yeah.
This is my life. This is what I do. This is my job. You know?
Man.
What the fuck is wrong with me, dude? You're being a real bitch right now.
Right. Totally, man. We get to play with cars. Like we're like grown ass kids.
Yeah. We're gonna
cars.
Go skate after.
We're
this.
gonna go skate after this, and this is our day. You know what I mean? Like how rad is that?
Life is good.
Life is good.
You know what, bro? I don't like to think about the past more, but we need to take it back a little bit, back to True Life.
Back to True Life.
Yeah, so I was telling you before we started.
Damn, I didn't even get to finish my Mickey story.
We'll come back to it. So, I told you we have a cult in Downstar. If you guys want to be part of the cult, just text the number 818-403-3473. Text us right now. You can join the cult. But I put in a message earlier today to the cult and let everybody know that you were coming on and had people ask questions. Somebody
is that all? Is that what the pitchforks and torches are out front? The whole group of
something like that.
Just kidding.
You gotta drink the punch, dude.
I wore the Nikes, man. I'm just kidding. I got some TCs.
But Julio Ibarra, he asked, how big was the rivalry with Eugene from Pro Street, and did that rivalry help you or motivate you to finish your car?
The rivalry with Eugene. I had a lot of rivals, and so when that was shot, it was kind of the end. So Eugene and Mike are the generation after me.
Got you.
Right. So I existed as a street racer in that culture before they were like doing things. You know, Eugene started his shop and started doing stuff, but I was doing it long before him. And so when they really started gaining a presence in the street race community, I was moving more into the road race community, but I still was a street racer. You know what I mean? Like I still banged gears, and it's still like amazing at the time. But it got to a point for me where nobody would race me. You know what I mean? Because I did everything. Like I would even like swap motors into like a second car that was a different color to come out and race people because nobody would race me. Just like I had that, like I figured it out, you know, and I knew how to beat people just by enough where they would keep racing me. And it's a hustle, man. Yeah. Like it's, you know, you do what you can to win. It's a hustle. Street race is a hustle. You know, you hide the nitrous. You know, there's a lot of things that you do. You know, I used to pump VHT in front of my tires when I do my burnouts. I had a little pump, and I would hit the windshield wiper button, turn the pump on, and like slick down my wheels. And I'd run like A008s like on all four corners, so it looked like just normal tires because no one knew what a Advan A008 was, you know, back then. It was like the perfect street slick, and so no one knew. You know, this things would get so sticky, and I'd launch, and it would be great. I'd do all kinds of weird tricks, and like one time I hung out the door. I had the door open on my car, looking under my car. I launched that way because I had to go.
Really?
Yeah, it was a street bike.
Oh shit!
I raced a street bike in my not DC2, in my DA, and like I was like, right. So you know when I was like, there's no way I'm gonna win. There's no way I'm gonna beat this guy. And I like opened it, and the dome light came on, and I was still like clutch in on, you know, like I was revving it like I was looking for something wrong. As soon as I heard his R's drop, I just dumped it with the door open. Head out the window, door hit me in the head. I popped back up. I heard him like, run! Too much, right? Rev it up, like bog. I just was gone, man. But you know what? He almost caught me. At the end of the track, he was I could see his front wheel.
Yeah.
He almost caught me. I was like, there's no way I would have won. But stuff like that. So I did everything. I could write a book on how to hustle at street racing, right? But so they came on after.
Got you.
So when we shot the show, they hit me up a few times to shoot the show for MTV. Gotcha. And they're just like, yo, we want to come meet up with you. And I was like, yeah, I got a lot going on. We were shooting Streets of Legend at the time, Lionsgate Streets of Legend. We're shooting this At Street Racing movie. And I was working for ProDrive, and it was like crazy hours. And I was actually I would work all day at ProDrive, doing all the Honda drivetrain stuff, and then I would come home and I'd build my DC2, work on that all night, sleep for like an hour, go back to work. I was doing that day in, day out, and I had so much going on, man. We'd do these night shoots, and we'd do all this, and I was like, it was crazy. So they're like, yo, we want to come shoot you. We heard you're the guy. I was like, yo, because the Fast and Furious stuff, you know, the real We want to come shoot you. I was like, I'm kind of busy right now. And so, you know, we'll figure it out, whatever. They kept calling and calling and calling. I was like, fine, okay, come out. You know what I mean? And I was like, thought they were just going to come out. We'll talk about it. I was like, come out, we'll talk about it. So they come out, and they get out of the car, and they just turn the cameras on. So when you see me, they just walk up, and they're like, all right, we like to just start filming. That's when you see me sitting on the back of my Integra. Is like, that's when I met them. I was like, I guess here we go. Bit forward, you know. Yeah. Don't even buy me dinner and a movie first. You know? And just no lube. Let's just go right to it, you know. And yeah, that's just where that all started. And so, I had actually called them to come out. So I had called them up. I called up Eugene and Mike. I said, yo, I'm gonna go out street races tonight. You guys should be out there, because I knew that they were working on a shop, and I knew they were working together. And I just that's just my nature. I just want to like bring the homies with me. You know what I mean? Like, it still doesn't change. I want to help people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, MTV's pretty big. Like, that publicity would do good for you. Yeah. And so they came out, but it was like, it was just weird. It was like ego. You know what I mean? They just kind of wanted to like punk me. Right. Mm-hmm. And so they were just trying to like, and they knew all the stuff I had to do. Like, I'd rented a track day with my dad for Father's Day. Like, and I was trying to get a car together so he could drive it, because my dad and I didn't really have a lot of time growing up. And he used to race Porsches before I was born. My mom used to race Porsches before I was born. They were both Porsche Owner Club, and they
wow.
raced like speedsters, man. There's beautiful speedsters. Yeah, I got pictures of my mom and this little bell helmet, this little like Russian blonde lady in this little bell like helmet and this Porsche, silver Porsche Speedster, just like looking back with these sunnies on, just super
Wow.
cool,
That's
right?
awesome.
Never even knew, man. I found a box of slides.
No way.
Yeah, found a box of slides when they were shooting they were shooting Streets of Legend, and they put her in it as just as basically the main character's mom. So if you want to see my mom, she's in Streets of Legend, like in this like video scene on the screen that the dude's watching about his mom who passed, kind of thing.
Got you.
And so they were looking for old pictures of her to put in the visor of the car. And I was like, oh, I think I got a box of slides. She's like, oh, I got a box of slides. So I got this like going through. I was like, holy crap. I'm just like, why don't you ever tell me? She's like, look, I wanted you to find your own road, you know? And she's like, I didn't want my road to be your road. She's like, my original plan was had your dad and I stayed together, is that we would have had like a race team and you would have been a part of it. But like, I never heard this story. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy. I got some pictures of my dad looking all like Italian racer, like all in his helmet and like straps and these crazy, like he had a Porsche and a Roadster. They had a Speedster and a Roadster, right? 50s, 55 and 56. Like crazy old cars, you know, like rad Porsches. And my dad, I knew my dad was always into cars. I knew he raced, but I never saw these pictures, you know?
Yeah.
So it was wild.
So you were getting the car ready for the racetrack day.
Yeah, so I had all this stuff going on. I'm bouncing around a little bit,
Yeah.
but I had all this stuff going on. And so they came out and they're just like really trying to push me into a race, you know? And I'm just like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
You know, let's do it. And so we actually I ran Eugene that night. So that was kind of like we talked about it. We talked about the other race with Will, and then we're like, well, let's just run. I'll go get the CRX, and the CRX was like, I didn't have any nitrous. Like, I don't even know if I had fuel in it. I went and grabbed it real quick because I was spending all my time on the DC2 trying to get that up and running. And when they showed up was the first time I fired it up. I hadn't even tuned it. It was like the first time I fired it up, and I was like, all right, here we go. You know what I mean? I think the cam was off a tooth on the cam or something like that. I was trying to figure that out. That was all that night. I was like, the way it looks, it was shot in like only a few nights.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was focused on that. So my CRX was just like chilling, you know, there's like, I went and grabbed it and went down and threw down, you know, just like drove it down the street from my house on this one spot that's like good to run. And we just ran it. And it was, and I remember my VTEC controller was cutting in and out of VTEC, which made it run like crap, and then it picked back up. And so, but we were neck and neck all the way down. It was dope.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, well, you won that. A lot of people are like, he won that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you just had to be there.
So who ended up really winning?
You ask good questions. That's a good question.
Well, that's 231 episodes in. I better.
Right? Yeah, there was a lot of benefit for him to win at the time. You know, he had the shop going.
Yeah.
Had other things going. So, you know what I mean? It was a good run. Like, his car's fast. You know what I mean? Like, it was a good race.
Good, man.
You know, it was neck and neck.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and they did good for a while. Him and Mike did good in that shop for a while. You know, that's probably your next question, is what happened to Eugene.
I actually just saw him on Facebook not long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the guy Mike, I think he lived out here for a little while, if
Yeah,
I'm not
I think
mistaken.
so, yeah.
Like Oxnard, Ventura area. But yeah, what happened?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you spoke with him?
I saw him at Tim's shop. So Tim owns he used to upgrade Innovative Mounts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he ended up selling Innovative Mounts recently.
Okay.
But, he's still doing well. Yeah, I saw him rolling in some pretty beat up Prelude to pick up some mounts, and he was like, I'd heard he got into like meth, but I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he just you could kind of tell he had some hard times.
Yeah.
But we've all been kind of, it sucks, man, because when you know somebody for so long and they go down that road, it's like you want the best for them, but it's like, you know, nothing you can do is going to change that. And so we're all kind of like, you know, we wish them the best. And, you know, yeah, I don't know, you know, it sucks. It really sucks. And I just like, there's like so much talent there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like kind of hard to speak on it too, because it's like, I don't have any bad feelings about the guy. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I hate seeing stuff like that, you know, and that's the lifestyle he chose, and that's okay for him. You know what I mean? And I'm not putting him down or anything, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard. It's just hard to watch. Yeah.
I feel you,
you know, but like, that happens. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know Mike and him parted ways, and Mike was doing well. I hadn't seen him in a long time either, but I know was doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it just sucks. It's sad, you know. There's a lot of really good talent wasted when like those kind of like, you know, methamphetamines gets in the way, you know, heavy drugs and things like that.
Yeah, it's in any industry, any walk of life, and you'll find it anywhere. And as much as you being a friend, family members, what have you, as much as they try, the sad thing about it is it's really just up to that person. And once you're in that spiral, it's not the easiest thing to get out. It's not a pep talk, you know, because the person giving the talk isn't the one going through the motions, isn't the one that's having those feelings, isn't the one that's life is in that direction. So it's, I mean, I used to be a lot harder on people with substance abuse, but it's hard, dude. And I'm sure there's sometimes when those people, when the clouds part a little bit, that they get that clarity, and then it's really them, and they're like, I don't want this no more. You know, as much as you don't want it for them, their family doesn't want it for them, I'm sure that they don't want it either. You know, and I just look at it at some of the addictions that I have, like caffeine, something as stupid as that. It's like, just imagine that times fucking 1,000,000. You know, and I can't even go a day without having a coffee and without being a bitch, you know. Imagine not being able to function without some certain substance, dude.
And I think it has a lot to do with, like, I mean, it's addiction. It's not whether it's meth or whatever. It could be anything. You know what I mean? Sure. Like anything. And so it's just, it's addiction, and it's like addictive mentality or addictive personality. And so, you know, I think there's a lot of things that you get addicted to that, you know, it's just like nothing else really matters.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a lot more things that are socially acceptable and like rewarded socially, you know, so people get away with it all the time. You know what I mean? Like work addiction and things like that, right?
Exactly.
You know, just like being in the garage, banging out, you know, building something for like days on end, months on end. There's an addiction to it, you know.
And then wondering why the rest of your life is going to shit. Why your girl just left. Why you don't have a relationship with your kids, you know. And then in your head, it's an addiction, so you're justifying it. Well, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for this. And then, maybe, but I don't want that. You know, that's not what I asked for. I didn't ask for us to have this or whatever. You know, when with my life how it is right now, any hardships that I go through, I understand that it's me that's putting myself through these hardships, because I can very well just go work for somebody else, and once it hits 5:00 on Friday, I'm Gucci all week, and I don't have to answer to nobody. I have to do nothing, but I'm not going to live the same quality of life that I live now. So I'm not going to put that weight on my wife and children and say, I'm doing this for you. They say, fool, I'm not asking for all of this. I'm not asking for the cars and stuff. You know, I'm asking for you. I want to be
Right. But that's what ego does. Ego puts that delusion in your life where you're just like, oh, I'm doing all this for what? It just spins you. It spins everything into like, that's crazy. And it's for like, there's a lot of fear base in that too. As you think about fear, man, people are operating on fear, like fear of not being accepted, you know, fear of being like in poverty or whatever, you know what I mean? They're just like operating on these fear bases.
Yeah.
And artists is like a whole nother level, right? Because it's maddening to be an artist. So you think that's why like we're, you know, artists go nuts, man. Yeah. You know, like even like, so like being an artist is crazy enough, and then being like a celebrity and an artist, like, oh man, listen to Dave Chappelle's thing on like Inside the Actor's Studio when he was like finally talking about what it is to be an artist, like being a celebrity.
Yeah.
And how it's just crazy.
Yeah.
How you just don't get to live a normal life, you know? And it's cool, man. It's very insightful. Like I suggest if you're an artist and you're like, you know, like look at that because you'll relate to it.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, and that's just crazy. Like, you know, like, yeah, I don't know, man. All the artists out there, like I just, you know what I mean? Like I wish them luck in your struggles. You know what I mean? Like you guys, I wish you luck. If you're an artist and you're pushing and you have, you know, visions and dreams in your heart, don't ever quit your daydream, you know, don't ever.
Yeah.
Right. It's worth it. It's worth it to see it through. And it's terrifying. And yeah, you know, I was terrified too, to do a lot of things, but you somehow got to figure it out and make yourself do it. And I had this conversation with Mia yesterday. We skated yesterday. She wants to skate every day.
Yeah.
I pick her up from school and she's like, Dad, let's go skate. I was like, yeah, let's go skate. And so, you know, it's crazy because she's good, right? And she doesn't know she's good and she won't know she's good. She's good, right? But she learns these things so quick, right? Like she just learned how to do kick turns, 180 kick turns, going up.
I saw that, yeah.
She learned those last week. Now she's dropping in and hitting the bowl. She never did this.
Wow.
And so she's like, hey, I want to learn how to do a nose stall.
Oh, wow.
Right? On a transition. She's like, I think that looks cool. And this is a lot of this comes from the competition. She sees these girls doing these cool stuff and she wants to do it. It's like you start falling into your tribe, right?
Yeah.
And you just want to like, you want to do that and you see it and you're like, that's cool, man. I love that. We all do. Like skating, gosh, you know, who'd you look up to when you were young skating? Who was like your...
Probably Reynolds,
right?
Know?
Yeah, Reynolds is sick.
Yeah, that's the man.
Big stuff too. It's dope.
Yeah.
And, so we start like, that's our tribe, right? Even though you didn't have access to him, that was still part of your tribe, right?
That's the boss.
It's the boss, right? So that's what she's seeing, and it's like, and so we're working. I said, okay, cool, I could teach you that. But we have we have like, when she started skating, she got really good. I didn't start her till late. I bought her a board, not this Christmas, not the Christmas before, but the one before that. So she's been skating under 2 years, right? And I didn't know. Like I was just like, I'll get her a board. She loved Ninja Turtles. I gave her this little Ninja Turtle skateboard. You know what I mean? And she just loved it.
Yeah.
I took her to the skate park, but we skated like around the outside, right? The sidewalk.
Got you.
And she just loved it. And it was fun doing it with her. I hadn't been on board in 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hadn't been on a board. And so it starts going and she gets really good. And like, I was like, yo, you're getting really good. You're dropping in, you're doing stuff. So I turned into coach dad.
Yeah.
Right. Which is kind of terrible too. Right. So I turned into coach dad and I'm just like, you got this. You could do it. Like she'd fall. Like, you got this. Like trying to do all this stuff to like, I'd be like, I'll buy you $10 at Target if you land it right now. If you drop in, you know, just trying to give her all kinds of incentive. And then at some point I look over at her and I'm just like, yo, are you having fun? She's like, not really. And I'm like, all right.
Time to back off a little bit.
I said, well, let's go find what's fun in the skate park. And so we cruised and just skated around. I said, you and me. I said, we're going to just cruise and find fun. Mm-hmm. And I said, it'll feel like fun because it feels like freedom. You know, it just feels like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And so we skated around all different parts of the park. And she came up to me and she's like, I found it. It's right here. It's going down this hill. I was like, let's do that. And that's what we did. It's like I had to back off because, you know, it's like my expectations for her don't mean anything, right?
Yeah.
In fact, they're going to hurt the situation. They're going to make her not love skateboarding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like I had to just be like okay with that and kind of restart. And so we restarted, and you know, I still tell her like, yo, I could teach you anything, but you know, you just gotta ask me.
Yeah. Because
like, you know, and that was like the lesson. Is crazy because it was a lesson for me. It's like, yo, like what's the joy for you? You know, and it got me thinking about all the joy in my life. Like, yo, it's not about success. It's about like really loving stuff. And I told her, I said, you don't get good at anything unless you love it. You don't. You get okay, you'll get proficient, but you won't become truly like amazing at something.
Yeah.
Unless you love it. And so love is the core of it, right? Love is the core of most things, right? But loving what you do is like paramount in my perspective, you know, and so that changed, and now she like found the joy in it. Now she loves it. And you know what I mean, she'll grab me for some stuff to help her do some stuff, but then I have to back off.
Yeah. Like
I have to be like, all right, you know, and like I always tell her, I said, look, I'm proud of you no matter what. I said, if you don't want to skate tomorrow, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Like I'll have your back. You know what I mean? If you want to get into like, you know, I don't know, repairing dishwashers or something tomorrow, that's your thing. I'm cool with it. I'll support you. I'll buy you cool dishwasher tools. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I have your back.
Yeah. No
matter what. And it was crazy. Like
that's beautiful.
So now she inspires me. So now she's learning a trick, and like I've never, because we didn't grow up with transition, so I never dropped in from 50-50. Mm-hmm. Like I've never done that. Yeah. Scared the crap out of me. I told her, I said, look, I've been telling her, I said, yo, that I'm working on that. That scares me. Right. So, because I never really tell her what scares me. And so I think that's important to be vulnerable with my little girl and be like, oh, that scares me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I'm holding her hands, and she's like learning how to drop in 50-50. And she's like, Dad, it's easy. She's like, just do it. Just do it. And I'm like, how am I going to argue with that? You're 8, you know what I mean? You have this wisdom beyond, you know. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I hopped up, and I'm like, well, I'm scared right now. Hell yeah. But I'm going to do it. So I did it. I dropped in like from 50-50, and it felt amazing.
Did you fall?
No.
Really?
I didn't. It's actually not that complicated.
It's not hard, but what makes it difficult is when you do fall and you're just like, oh shit, now I'm scared again.
Oh yeah. No, I've fallen on stuff, and I know when you fall in transition from dropping in, it's a good time. Yeah. It's a splat. And I don't skate pads or anything. I probably should, but I'm old school. So I'm not I'm not in like knee pads or whatever. I'm out there just getting
That's funny you say that, dude, because I went to the skate park probably the last time I skated, maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was doing a line, and then my boy was filming me, and I landed the trick, and I kept going, and I went up and I did it 50-50 stall and came back down, and I didn't even think about it, but I was like, fuck, man, I hope I don't fall right now.
But you know how to do it, or is that your first time doing it?
I know how to do it, but I rarely do it because I just don't like to. Like I'll drop in, but like it's pretty sketch, dude, for sure.
So I did it twice, and like she was like, "Proud of you, I'm proud of you. You did good." I was like, "Thanks."
Well, that's the thing about skateboarding too, is because no matter if the kid's 12 and you're in your early 40s, late 30s, like you can learn something from that kid, you know. And when
I learn all the time.
When I skate with Christian, he's 14 right now, dude. It's like I'm 14. And we're skating with each other, and he's encouraging me, and I'm encouraging him, and it's just that bond that we build is so dope, dude. And it's like this is crazy, because I don't know if we could ever bond on this level with other things.
Yeah, maybe not, but
but this thing, skateboarding, you don't have to be a certain age. It's just because I'm this old, doesn't mean that I'm way better than a kid that's half my age.
Totally.
They'll smoke me, you know.
I smoke some of these kids though.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna do it today, dude.
Well, that's so. What's cool is this is my favorite part, and it's funny because these kids will come up and be like, "Yo, used to be good, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I used to be."
Used to be.
I used to be.
I love it, dude. Hey, so go back a little bit, so we can wrap up the
MTV,
the True Life
True
stuff.
Life. So like Eugene,
yeah,
you know, like if you're listening, if you're watching, I wish you well, brother.
yeah.
You know
Big
what I mean?
shout
Like,
out to you, man.
yeah, yeah. If you ever need anything, you know what I mean. Like if you want to, like whatever, you know what I mean. Just I'm here. You know, get a hold of me, man. Same bat number, same bat channel.
Love it, bro. Shout out to you, man. Because definitely big part.
Yeah.
Of that history, you know.
Yeah. And then, so Slimeball got into the stuff too. He got into the bad stuff too, and he did some time for it. Yeah, he did some time for it, and but he got clean. He got in a pretty bad bike accident, got some cash for that, and he started a fabrication shop.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
You know the name?
I don't know the name. I don't know. I think after kind of like if somebody gets caught up in that stuff, I'm always kind of distant.
Yeah.
Because younger, I had some friends who got caught up in that, and you know, I never got my TV back. So you know what I mean? It's just like it's just kind of the way it goes. But and then I get so busy, like, and I think that's part of it too. Is like, you know, my level of being social in this industry and like in its peripherals, like that's something that I'm changing. You know, because it's like that's falling in love with it again, right?
Yeah.
Is like it's those relationships too. You know, it's not just about me hermiting myself and fabricating all kinds of crazy stuff in my garage. It's about building interdependence. You know what I mean? Like I can do it by myself. You know, all of it by myself. I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like I've done it. But it's like more beneficial to the people who are coming up if you can show interdependence. And that's working with these people. That's like maintaining these relationships, like healthy business and personal relationships, you know, and doing like, you essentially can do more than you can do by yourself, you know, and it means more, you know, and that's my shift is to do that and to, you know, cause I feel like I did that a lot when I was younger on all the sponsorships, like in True Life, I had a ton of sponsors. You know, I had a King Motorsports sponsor. You know, that's how I got. You know, I still paid for the Mugen stuff, but I got out of the box brand new Mugen stuff, and it was a lot still. And I got, you know, Scott from King.
Out of Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, he gave me like a really good price on everything, but I still paid for it, and that stuff was just like a lot.
Dude,
you know, MF10s back then, Mugen, like formula valve cover, all that stuff, you know, the Takata harnesses, like all that stuff just like came in like a course of a couple of days, you know, and it was just like I got crazy pictures of just unboxing all that stuff. It's wild, man.
Overnight parts from Japan. Dude, a few years back at Tokyo Auto Salon, we actually visited Mugen and with Scott. It was, I was with my boy Ryan Hagner. He's the one that would run the Eibach meet, which is now the Honda meet.
Yeah, Ryan's the homie.
Yeah, so Ryan had he was setting up a meeting with Mugen because he was gonna bring him down to the Eibach meet. So he invited us with him, and we went. And dude, that's crazy to be able to go there. I went to Spoon a few times, but I don't know if people understand like Mugen is. It's a different level,
right?
Like
because they're like formula cars.
Yeah, they're
sure. Like formula engines, and they're like the crazy engine building and like.
Dude, everything was covered up too. They're very top secret about a lot of stuff, and I didn't know that he's the son of Mr. Honda, which is wild, dude. Right? Yeah, so shout out to Scott. Dude. That's my story that I have with him. That's crazy.
Yeah, Scott was dope. Yeah, a lot of those parts on the car were like unseen before, like Wiggins clamps. You know, like that was like the guys from Fluid Control Products, and it's a crazy. Like I met them through a guy named Roger Spriggs, who is just this like crazy aerospace mind, who would like do these. He makes these machines that hard weld surfaces on like rock crushers to reface them. he makes these things to like hard weld like those plates you drive over.
Mm-hmm.
They have all these welds in them so you don't slip.
Mm.
He makes the machines that weld us. Anyways, I think I met him looking for like welding rod on a Saturday in Fullerton. Like he was just had his little shop, and I cruised in there. I was like, "You got welding rod?" He's like, "Yes, but I don't sell it. Like, what's up?" I was like, "Dude, this place is crazy." We talked for probably like 5 hours, man. And he's like, well, "All right." So he set me up with the guys at Wiggins, who Wiggins doesn't sell to the public.
Mm.
And so I would buy all this stuff surplus. And that's the industry I look at is aerospace.
Yeah.
Right. And so I can't afford aerospace parts. So I always find them surplus, and like there's a cool surplus for them. There's like a bunch of cool surplus parts around. One of them is like Lukey's Hardware. Like it's up in Burbank area. If you're ever in Burbank area, Lukey's Hardware, that place is a gem. Just cruise in there and like cruise around for a little bit. You know, like talk to Lukey. She's amazing. And just like, it's like fantastic. So I'd buy all these cool parts. And I remember I'd buy like the Quick Connects. Like a lot of people reference like, yo, those Quick Connects were sick. Those came off the space shuttle. You know what I mean? Like those one came off a space shuttle. One came off a satellite.
Mm.
And so I would call Wiggins and talk to this. I don't remember his name. Box somewhere. But he would tell me we would talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. This is when I worked at ProDrive, and he would tell me like, "Yo," he's like, "That disconnect, that thing cost $90,000." He's like, "You got a $90,000
Oh my God.
disconnect that came off the, reference some satellite or some like it was the extra 3 that they made for the satellite,
Yeah.
when they built it."
Oh,
And they
wow.
would just tell me because when they make these parts, they have a list and they know exactly where they go.
Yeah.
And so I was after the Wiggins clamps, right? Because I'd bought a couple from Lukey's, and he was just like, "Okay, well, we don't sell direct, but I'll put you in touch with the guys at Fluid Control." And so they're the only place to get it. So I'm the first car that Fluid Control Products ever sponsored. Just because I was like, "Hey, I'm building this crazy car. Will you send me some stuff?" And and they put their stuff on the car. I have it in all kinds of magazines and on MTV and all, like, not only MTV, but it was on Dateline. It was in, Streets of Legend. It was in all these crazy places.
Yeah.
And like it would have been MTV at the time too. Yeah, definitely MTV. Oh, crazy. And they're just like, dope.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. And then people didn't know what they were. And then they started flying off the shelves, and so that's like, but I had to pull the trigger, like I had to pull the trigger and build that DC2. And it was like a lot to do that. I had Toda C cams in it. It had like crazy ITBs. I built those ITBs with 4 VX throttle bodies. I took, the little tiny VX or like CX. They have those little throttle bodies about like this.
Got you. Yeah.
So my ITBs were 4 of those.
Oh, wow.
Flipped sideways with a linkage.
Oh, wow.
I made them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Because there wasn't, you couldn't just buy ITBs at the time.
Yeah.
Barely. It's just starting to come out, and I had made some before.
Yeah.
I had some on my DA. I had Makunis on my DA, side draft Makunis with like 200 shot of nitrous.
Wow.
That's those stuff, right?
Was it in the late 90s?
Late 90s, yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Hey, I got a question. When we gonna bust this chocolate open, bro?
Dude, you've been staring at it the whole time.
Yeah,
Why don't you
let's
just
do
ask
it,
me?
dude.
So I brought this chocolate. It's my favorite chocolate in the world. It's organic. It's by a company called Theo
Theo?
out of Washington. Yeah,
Thank you, bro.
Theo chocolate. Thank you, Theo chocolate.
Shout out to Theo, bro.
Yeah, man. Stuff's good. It's like the first company to bring in whole bean organic beans and like shuck them here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all fair trade. And it's delicious.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so
Have as much as you want.
thank you.
Yeah.
A little more rewinding,
Yeah.
and then we'll get to present day, all right?
Sounds good.
Let's take it back. 2001.
Mm.
How the hell did you even end up in Fast and Furious?
Oh, man. We're going to talk about Fast and Furious now. I feel like we're going way back.
Well, that's the first time that you were on a public stage, right?
Mm.
Tell everybody who you were before.
Just a mint one.
Mint?
You're going to love it.
I'll take some of this, bro. Thank you.
Mm.
So which guy were you
What?
in Fast and Furious? Yeah.
Let's take it back. This chocolate's good.
You brought chocolate. Any future guests, if you guys want to bring stuff when you come, feel free to. You know who always brings a lot of stuff is Max Boost. Dennis from Max Boost brought us a lot of stuff last time. I appreciate that. Shout out to you, Dennis. Great dude.
I almost thought you were going to say Max Haw.
I'm not familiar with that.
You don't know Max Haw?
Mm-mm.
He's old school. Max is dope. He's down in Mexico. Just a new little baby. But.
I came into the community in 2007. So everything that I know prior to 2007, it's me actually doing my due diligence, going back and talking, having these kind of conversations, you know?
You've done an amazing job.
Thank you, bro.
Like, I'm super proud of you for
Thank you so much.
Keeping the, it's like, you know, you're essentially a storyteller by loving this industry so much and by loving the cars and by loving, like, you know, all that we do and loving this stuff. And you've really connected a lot of people and told this story. So I'm grateful. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as it was like all, you know, like you put that up and all the people voted, it's like it's in a heartbeat, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Whatever you need, man. Like I'm in.
Much love, bro.
Yeah.
So white t-shirt, bald, fucking with the homies.
With the homies, man.
How'd you end up in the movie, dude?
Well, like a lot of things, I would get phone calls before email, before anything. Like I'd get phone calls. So I might even gotten paged. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Like to yeah. I gotta call this number back.
FNF? What the hell is that?
Yeah, what is this? So I would take people out. People would be like, "Yo, you're the street race dude. We're writing an article." Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like come out, just roll with. Like anyone who wanted to roll, I'd be like, "Yeah, cool. You might get shot at. I hope you're ready. It gets weird." You know what I mean? Like we might run from the police. You know, we might get yanked out of the car and beat up, which I have for sure.
By the police?
By the police, yeah. It's you know, the lifestyle choice. I got pulled over every day. Pretty much if I got away with a day without getting pulled over, it was a good day. You know, it's like Ice Cube not having to use his AK,
Didn't
right?
have to use the AK.
If I didn't get pulled over, it was a good day. But that was our lifestyle choice, right? So it got real. You know, I definitely got yanked out of the car. I know, what's it, Fontana Police. Wait, Ontario Police or Fontana? I don't know, man. I was getting pepper sprayed, handcuffed, tasered, beat with the clubs. I was black and blue by the time I got out of there. That's when I learned if you ever get pepper sprayed, I like finally made it back down to the AM/PM, like right off the 15 and I don't even, Jarupa maybe. I don't even know what that exists. The AM/PM we all used to meet at when shit would go bad.
Mm-hmm.
And my homie comes out. He's like, "Yo," he's like, "I got you." Goes in the AM/PM, gets a big carton of milk, right? And he opens it up. And he's like, "Just put your face in here. Just open your eyes, wash your mouth out, breathe some in your nose, like snort it out, like everything." He's like, "Milk's gonna help your." Cause I was burning, right? That milk helps, you know. So that's what I did, man. I was a street racer. You know, I made a living street racing. I hustled. That's what I did. So, but if you wanted to roll, it's it's on you.
Yeah,
hop in. And so I would take a lot of people. A lot of people were interested in what was going on, like newspapers, you know what I mean? And I always trying to paint it like best I could, but as real as I could, you know what I mean? Like I always try to paint it a really nice way. And so, I didn't really, a lot of things happened. And then maybe about a year. And I think it was this one guy I took out, I get a call back and he's like, "Yo, hey, we want to have you come out to this movie that we're shooting and like cameo in it." And I was like, "Yo, okay, cool, I'll come out." You know what I mean? Because so much time had gone by that I was just like, "All right, yeah, I'm down. I'm always down." You know what I mean? Like, "All right, cool, street race movie. Yeah, I'm down. Bring your car." He's like, "Bring your car out." Cool. So I brought it out, you know, and I was just like, they introduced me to Vin and Paul, and they're like, yo, this is your Hollywood dude. And like, I was like, oh, crazy. But we didn't think anything of it. I'm a kid, you know what I mean? Like, essentially, I'm a kid. And so, like, I'm not looking at this, like, with anything but, like, yo, cool. This is sick.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not thinking 5 squares ahead, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, like, yo, sick.
Yeah.
Just being authentic, you know what I mean? And so we went out, they put me and they placed me right behind him in some different scenes and like some key scenes, and it was cool. And they put me with like Mick Rogers and had me do the stunts for like stunt driving. I still got that that Stunts Unlimited sticker on the CRX. In some of the deleted scenes, you could see me like kicking the crap out of a Turbo Supra.
Oh, really?
Smoke.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I beat the when you watch the cop scene, when the cops come into the street race, you know, they go cops, 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 and we all take off. It was crazy. It was crazy town. Right then and there, it was crazy. But we're all street racers there, or we're all, you know, we've all been, because that was the culture. So everyone kind of knew what to do. We all know what to do when the cops come. You just you leave, but there's some, like, in the chaos, there's order.
Yeah.
It's wild. And so I would get in my car and head down the street, and they shot it on Prairie, right, in Hawthorne.
Okay.
And so from that intersection, like, my car's right at the intersection where they're street racing. Like, you'll see it when you watch it. It's like right there. And so when they call the cops, I hop in the car and I book it down the street. Well, I beat all the picture cars down the street. Like, that's how fast that CRX is.
Oh, shit.
Thing's a beast, right? And so they were like, well, that's crazy. That car's fast. The stunt drivers were talking about it. And Paul was like, oh, thanks, crazy fast, you know, because they're seeing me just book it.
Yeah.
And so that's how Paul and I started talking more, as he was talking about, you know, wanting to get a car and whatnot. And so he's like, yo, take me for a ride in this thing. And so they were doing like scene changes. They were doing some stuff down at the other end of the track. So they were shooting some stuff with the stunt driver and whatnot. So I took him for a rip the other way, right? So I'm just like, man, that thing's so loud, man. You can't hide that. Take it down, rip e-brake, fly back, do a bunch of stuff. And they're just like yelling at me when we park. They're like, we're kicking you out. He's like, I asked him to do it. Paul, they had to step in and be like, yo, I asked him to take me for a ride. Yeah, they were going to throw me off the set for that. And then he's just like, no, man, I made him do it. I forced him. Like, he like talked to him, and they're like, no, he came back. He's like, yeah, you can stay.
Oh, wow.
So that's when they put me with Mick Rogers. They're like, yo, you know, dude can drive. So, you know, and then I'm pretty sure he pulled the strings to get me with Mick, to like get me with the dude in the stunts after that. So when we moved to the next San Bernardino Airport, which was like the next
race
year,
wars.
The race wars, yeah.
Gotcha.
So when we moved to that, because I'm on 3 scenes. So I'm on the old American Apparel building downtown LA.
Gotcha.
So I'm in that scene, and I'm in the this actual street race scene, the 4-wide street race scene.
Okay.
And then I'm in the race horse scene. And so yeah, it was crazy, man. It was a party. Like, it's all like all the homies were there, like all the people who just like, you know, you knew all, like most of the people you knew, and it was cool because that's what really drew Paul into it. Because he was just like, yo, you guys are a family. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, that's amazing. He's like, you guys are all different ethnicities. You guys are all different, like, racial creeds. You guys are just like, everyone's different. This guy's a gangbanger. This guy's a this, but you guys all get along. Yeah, that's where I love cars. And that's really what drew him into it. And so, yeah, man, that was crazy. That's where he was like, yo, I'll get a Civic. Yeah. Let's get you into a Skyline, you know, and then, a Skyline. Yeah, that sounds good. And yeah, I took him over and introduced him to the guys at Motor X, and that's the rest is history, you know.
Did you keep in touch with him?
Yeah, I always kept in touch with him. I was actually supposed to be at his event the day he passed.
Really?
Yeah, he called me up, but Mia was like, he messaged me. Mia was like,
probably like 6
months. No,
oh, wow.
6 months old.
God, she's
not 8
long.
now. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was November Yeah, it was November that happened.
I
It was
remember.
like Thanksgiving weekend in November that when it happened. And so Pepper was like, he wanted me to have Pepper out there for the toy drive. And I was doing some work on Pepper, and I also had Mia. I think it was like the first night that I'd planned to take me out to like dinner. You know what I mean? Like she has a little baby kind of thing. And so I was like, yeah, I'll get the next one. It kind of bugs me because like there's no next one, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but maybe like 6 months before that, I went to Button Willow, and I didn't plan on going, so I didn't tell anyone. I just rolled up there. There was an event. There was like it was like a, well, it's one of the road race events, maybe a GTA event happening up there, Global Time Attack.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was chilling, and there was a big crowd around him, and he looked up and he saw me. Right? I was just kind of cruising up, and he like parted the whole crowd, man. He came over, gave me the biggest hug, and he like put my hand up in the air, and he's like, this dude's like the OG. If you don't know who this dude is, you're not like, you know, you better get on Google, you know.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it was pretty cool. That was like the last time I got to chill with him, you know.
Yeah.
And it's tragedy.
Definitely
Yeah.
is. Rest in peace, Paul Walker, man. Huge impact on the community. I remember the day after it happened, we went out to the spot, and bro, packed.
Yeah.
Whole block packed, dude.
Yeah.
And it was cool just to see how much people that he touched, you know. And you just in the car culture, you look back, probably a lot of people fall into place that Fast and Furious was what got them looking at this community, you know, that, and, you know, True Life. Because, dude, I was on MTV all the time. I was watching TRL, you know.
Yeah,
I would watch True Life all the time. Whatever it is, True Life.
Yeah.
I eat dirty diapers or whatever.
Yeah, True Life. I go to fat camp. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was that one. I was like, oh man, cars, dude. And then it was after Fast and Furious, so it was definitely something that was attractive. And
yeah, that was the first. The True Life was the first, like, public perspective of street racing.
yeah,
You know, I got to usher in that, like, underground. It was underground before that. Even though there was a movie, there was nothing. You didn't see what it was. There was no real, like,
yeah,
there wasn't YouTube.
yeah.
You know, couldn't just pop on and see some crazy shit. You know, you had to like do it, either do it or not. You know?
Are you familiar with Rafael Estevez?
Yeah, he wrote Racer X.
Well,
right?
he is.
Or his Racer
He
X.
is Racer X.
Right.
Yeah. So we actually.
Oh, he was the one who was written about.
Yeah.
Him.
So he's from New York.
Right.
DRT Racing, and
Yeah.
it's so crazy that like the motivation from the movie was from the East Coast.
Right. It's crazy out there too.
Yeah.
I've gotten to go out there and street race out there. I've been all over the country street racing. I took that DC2 across the country and street race everywhere with it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, man.
Did you ever race on the highways?
Yeah. Garden City Parkway, we'd block the streets off. Boogie Down Bronx, man.
Yeah.
Same thing, like block. There's like a parkway thing that goes under the bridge.
Yeah.
Like old school spot, yeah.
Yeah, if you guys still want to see that to this day, follow I Am Ty Boogie on Instagram. Ty Boogie is always out there filming it. You'll see him live. It'll be like 11 o'clock at night here. So it's like 2 in the morning out there, and you just see the wildness. It's still going on to this day, you know.
Popping.
But it's crazy how the influence is, you know. Ralphie just was out there doing the same thing that you're doing, but on the East Coast. And then it got the attention of somebody that was writing an article for Vibe magazine. The article came out.
Right.
And then somebody from Universal ended up buying up all that content, and it turned into the movie, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild.
What I'm guessing is the guy that came out was working on a screenplay.
Oh, definitely
working on the screenplay.
Yeah, that was probably after that
Way
they
later,
purchased
yeah.
it, and then
I think everything takes so long when you're trying to put together or pitch a movie.
Oh, for sure,
You
dude.
know what I mean? Like,
'Cause
stuff takes years.
I think that the article maybe came out in 98 or 99, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, Ralphie's still around to this day, racing in the East Coast.
That's good to hear, man.
Great guy, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I was out there. Like Vinny 10. I don't know if you know those guys. Craig Paisley, Vinny 10. Craig had that Supra that would wheel stand. You ever see that picture of that Supra doing this at Englishtown?
Yeah.
That's Craig Paisley.
We had Ara on the podcast. He would race the Supra as well, the street light, the purple one.
Right.
Yeah, so that I believe he mentioned him.
Craig Paisley.
All the East Coast guys.
Yeah, I stayed with Craig when I was out there.
Oh, really?
We went to the street races. It was wild, man. It was so fun.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like the time, you know.
For sure.
I drove solo across the country for like the hot import nights. So I was partnered in a magazine called Max It Out Video. If you ever get a chance to look up Max It Out Video, man, they were all like tape too. So I'm trying to digitize some of them.
Gotcha.
You know, it was like Jose Martinez and me. We just cruised around, like film stuff, and like I came on board after the second one, but my CRX is in one of them, like a whole interview about that. And there's like some cool stuff, but it's all tape, so it doesn't like. Yeah, it's like I got to go through and digitize it and like put it up on.
Hey, put that shit on YouTube. Totally. Make some money quick.
Totally,
for
man.
Sure. Hey, let's get back to Mickey, dude.
Let's get back to Mickey.
Mickey, shout out to Mickey. Mickey, yeah. I love you, bro. I want to hear this story.
All right. Oh, and then the last notes, Fast and Furious. The CRX was the sound of the Green Eclipse.
Oh shit.
So they put me with Soundstorm. I think that's who did Soundstorm. We shot at Aqua Dulce Airport like 2 weekends, getting all the sounds of that car. So when you watch it, you're listening to my blue and white CRX like that, like that's. And then they repitched it for the Civics too, is what I'm guessing. And then I was watching it because when we show stuff to Mia when she was little, we always had subtitles on English with just the words, so she could see words as she heard just to help, you know, a little bit leg up or whatever.
Gotcha.
But I was watching the Fast and Furious scene, and it cuts over, and I'm right there in the background, and it's the subtitle comes up. I'm saying, "You tell him, Dom."
Yeah.
I never knew I had a line in it.
Oh shit.
I'm like, whoa, damn. Now you know. I blew my mind a little bit. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Hell yeah.
But, yeah, that was it was a cool era. It was fun. It was crazy. We just got a hotel out at San Bernardino when we did that, and we just would party.
I bet.
Yeah, we would like film all day and then like party at the hotel, and like it was crazy, and it was full of us. It was all of us. It was like all the homies, and like it was crazy. We'd meet girls and like take them back. It was wild, man. Yeah, it was
That's
wild. I got more crazy stories from that whole specific time, but we should bounce around, man.
Yeah.
We can keep this going all night, man.
For sure.
But you want to know about Mickey, huh?
Yeah, dude.
Mickey's dope, man. I'm really proud of that dude.
Me too, bro.
Yeah, we met him on that like Nopi tour.
Yeah.
And obviously he had like a sick right hand as well. And it was after the MTV thing, so he was just like, yo, MTV. I was like, yo, sick car, you know. We became friends. And I just remember just like so many stories, so many like times talking to that guy on the phone, and like hours just rapping out about stuff. And, you know, just like, I remember one time I told him, I said, if you don't move out here, man, I'm going to come drive out there and pick your ass up, because you got to be out here. You know, the kind of drive and ambition that he has, it's just beautiful and it's rare. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
And it's like, yeah, of course, he deserves every ounce of success that he gets, you know. And he drove out here, and I know he stayed at my house for a little bit, not that long. He got set up pretty quick, you know, working for Modern Image, and he lived pretty close. He basically lived like a city over, and yeah, I remember I did find that Civic for him, because I was at YLM, and I was like, yo, I called him. I 100% remember this now. I said, yo, bro, you want a right-hand drive Civic? He's like, yeah. I said, dude, I got one right here. I'm looking at it. It's black and beautiful, you know. And he's just like, was it black or maybe it was white?
White. Unless he painted
No,
it.
I think it was. I feel like it was black originally, but no, maybe it was white. I remember looking at it. It was that Wild I got from Wild M, and yeah, I came and looked at it and swooped it up, and he put it in his carport in Brea.
Yeah.
He had it like outdoors in a carport. You know what I mean? But this was
Oh
back
my
in
God.
the day. They weren't like, you know, they weren't that. It wasn't that crazy. It wasn't like they are now.
Do not do that nowadays,
No,
guys.
You can't put a. Which sucks, you know.
Yeah.
If you're stealing people's like hopes and dreams, like, you know, there's a special place in hell for you. You know what I mean?
It's the culture, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
You know, that's that ego, man. People want what like other people work hard for.
for sure.
But yeah, that was Mickey, you know, and then got to hang out and do some stuff, and then yeah, he just like exploded, man. Like he got the job for Falcon, and you know, and I was friends with Courtney before, but he ended up with like dating Courtney and like hooking up, and I was just like so proud of him. Like I remember, you know, there's like a lot of rad stories, but that's like such a rad like love story and like industry story and whatnot. And it's just like it's cool to see him. And like, you know, I spent a lot of life buried in my builds, you know. I've had Pepper for 10 years. And that engine build took 5.5 years to put a Duramax in her. And she blew up. And it's like, you know, that takes a lot of like pulling yourself out of like those shows and driving and this and that. It's the sacrifice, you know. And it was definitely off balanced. But I just had to get it done. It was like this concept I had to get off my chest, you know. And you know, so I lost touch with a lot of people during that. You know, Mickey, I'd see him at shows. I think I pitched some stuff to AccuAir a little bit. We talked to him a little bit about, you know, coming on board as like a sponsor for it. But I just had to get done. Like I couldn't commit to anything till I finished that crazy engine build, you know.
Yeah, I
You've
feel you.
seen it.
Yeah, it was sick, dude.
Crazy, huh?
And speaking about how you were talking about like aerospace and things like that, I remember you showing me some of the clamps and some of the accessories that you did use. Yeah, it was very interesting for sure, and just all the tricked out stuff that you did, all the little panels and such. Oh, to get to this, you go under these panels. You know, that's very awesome, man. It's a unique build. I love it.
And you know what the crazy thing is?
What's that?
I haven't shown anyone. Like, I haven't posted it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like I filmed it.
Yeah.
I'm like cutting together episodes and I'll put it out, but I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
I was so like, I was smoked, man. Like when I was done with it, it ran. I had some power steering issues. I kept blowing the bottom out of the pump. I fixed that. And once it was done, it ran perfect. And I just drove it.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy because you think about like, that's like a true work of art, you know, like a true complete release of intention.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's from vision to ultimate completion, right? Like it's like putting it all out there. And like it's an impossible dream. Like that swap was like an impossible dream, you know. And it was the hardest thing I ever did. It was well over 10,000 hours building that thing.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount. That's like, so you think about they call that a mastery level of like, and that's just in that engine bay.
Wow.
It was over 10,000 hours. It's crazy. It's like that all the way through, and everything is hand built. You know, Mia did some stuff too. I teach her how to machine and things like that on it. So she's on when you guys see the video, I'll be popping it on YouTube. Probably in the next 6 months, I'll have that wrapped up. But it's crazy, man. Like just getting it done. Like I don't think I'd ever had that large of a release of like intention before. Like a pure original thought release of intention. And, you know, no matter what I did, I always worked on that for 5.5 years since it broke.
Yeah. Right.
Engine blew up, had an old Detroit in it, like an old diesel 6.5. NA. It was terrible. 6 miles per gallon. The thing was terrible. You know, and I'd haul cars inside because I could put cars in the back of it, going up grades and everything was pretty terrible. But so like this was my solution. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this Duramax swap. A homie says it's doable, and he definitely undersold it. 100% he undersold it because nothing fits. But I mean, no one's ever done like a Duramax swap in like a P30 school bus. You know, like it's not a thing. I can't go online and look and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this swap part and this swap part. You guys are lucky that there's like
the
swap
Hassport
kits.
mounts for the bus.
Yeah, you can't. Every single thing on it was hand built.
Wow.
And when I finished, right, because it was such a major part of my life for the 3 years it ran before it broke. Like I did everything. I would go out of state, pick up homies' cars. You know what I mean? It was in a music video. It was in all this. It did so many things. I did like parkour road trips on it. We just like crazy stuff, tons of stuff with it. It went to Burning Man, like all this crazy stuff with it. Then it broke. So it was like this thing that was like this major part of not only my life, but I helped a homie build his like parkour gym with it. Like moved all this stuff in. Like we used it for like the the hauler for all the stuff moving into a shop and all this crazy stuff. But then when it broke, it was like this like heartbreak. And it was like this, like I had to go through that. Like I had to go through all of that. And what's crazy is I think when it was done, I had like the worst heartbreak in my life while I was building that thing. And then it was like, I got that sold, that helped me get into like that Motor Trend show, because that thing was a crazy build in the shop. And like, they wanted to use it on it, but they ended up just like reformatting the show. And I ended up in the show, and it was like this crazy, I'd work these 20-hour days, and the couple days I had off, I'd go work a couple hours on the bus, come up from San Diego, work a couple hours on the bus to just get stuff done. But it was just like nonstop. And the last 2 years were like 8-10-hour days minimum, sometimes like 12-16-hour days every single day. Yeah. Every single day, just on it. It was too much, but I finished it. And then when I was done, it was weird. It was like this breakup with the project. Yeah. Right. Like I had to let go of that relationship. Yeah. Because I wasn't working on it anymore. It wasn't a project. It was something I drove.
The journey's over. You're here.
I'm here, but I had to I had to like learn how to live again. I had to recover from it, which took like the first 6 months were really hard. Because it was like health and all that stuff. I put everything into it. Yeah. So even my health was jacked up. Everything was pretty jacked up. And so, yeah. And then, it was crazy. Like it's been like, it's been a whole like crazy recovery this past like 2 years. It's been 2 years. Yeah. To this like October, the end of October was, No, I guess I really didn't finish it till December, so it's almost 2 years. So like it's like I'm finally like, I did a bunch of other stuff, but I'm finally like, oh, I'm on again. Yeah. I'm inspired again. Yeah. I'm alive again. I see like all of this stuff, and like it's like it just took that time. Because anytime you put that much energy into something and that much like creative energy, there's an off time. Like there's a there's like, you gotta give yourself that kind of off time. That's a high level of just like creative flow. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's like now it's like everything feels like it's clicking, and it's like I'm awake again, I'm inspired again, I'm falling in love with it all again, because there's like, I don't know, I didn't want to look at it. Yeah. I wasn't even ready to cut the footage because I didn't want to look at it. Yeah, I didn't want to post pictures of it. Like I didn't need it. Yeah. That's the crazy thing, is like I didn't need it. I didn't need the recognition from it. I didn't build it for anyone else. I built it for me. Yeah. I built it to prove to myself that I could and I'm capable, and I don't need to show it off. Which is crazy. You've seen under there. It's crazy. It's crazy to not need that from something so big. Yeah. But now I see it for what Pepper is. Pepper's a tool for my life, and there's so many things that are like coming up that Pepper will be used for. It's like SEMA 2022. If you guys think that Pepper should be at SEMA 2022, you guys let me know.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm feeling it. Like, it feels like those final little last minute details. Like, it's like that cross between school bus and like race car.
Maybe in that Hoonigan burn pit.
That's what everyone keeps saying, man. No, I have like a cool concept for that. I could burn it.
Yeah.
I probably have to pull one of the dually wheels off to get it to burn, but I know I could burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I break the internet.
Shout out to Hoonigan, man.
Yeah, we were
They're
out
always
there
coming out with some cool shit.
Yeah, we were out there in the burn pit. Jeff Jones was drifting it up.
Yeah, and then I saw the Daily Driven Exotics. They fucked up their SJV. I don't know what they did. The blew the motor or what happened.
No, they got it going. It was the steering. It has like all-wheel steer.
Oh, okay.
And so it freaked out the all-wheel steer because they were doing these really tight
like top.
It's all-wheel drive, all-wheel steer. I was right there. I'm like right.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like right from here to across.
With the
like,
doors open, dude.
The doors opening through the smoke. Like I was
badass.
I was
dude.
like I was gonna pull my phone out, but I was like, I'm just gonna really live this right now. Like this is wild. In the smoke, the doors popping up.
So cool.
Yeah, super cool.
I'm bummed that I missed that. Which brings me to another topic: is the YouTubers.
Yeah.
Especially you being in Formula Drift in that community. Some of the YouTubers been moving into that space. Adam LZ and TJ Hunt.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that new age style of being in the car community? The new lanes that they got.
It's different for me, and if we can flash back to the way it was. You didn't show your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you did everything you could to keep your project quiet until you came out. Like you just popped out with some stuff and you're just like, boom. And that was just the culture, right? And so it's changed because everything is out there. And in fact, the more vulnerable you can be, the better. Right. The more open you could be about your progress and your like how you do things and whatnot, the better. And so it's a shift perspectively for me to like shift to do that. Right. But it's like, I think it's cool. I like Adam. Adam's a good
I have
guy.
Yet to meet Adam.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's got a pretty big entourage. And it's like, he's got there's a lot of people there who are just like Adam, all the fans.
Sure.
His fan base is like extensive and the line is huge. And I'm really grateful for that because it does really well for the sport.
Yeah.
And you see when he gets knocked out, the live stream drops tremendously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you see it drop. And it's like, all right, cool. But that's part of it. That's part of drifting is it's like, it's kind of a show too. It's kind of based on your following and
for sure.
Based on what you bring to the sport and based on what you bring to Formula Drift, and I think it's great. I think it's a subjective motorsport. It's judged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Car shows are judged, drifting is judged, skateboarding is judged. It's just part of it, and it's cool. Like we got to pit next to him this past at Irwindale a few weeks back. And it's kind of always like one of our guys. So Chris Jackson, he's crew chief for Jeff Jones. Amazing dude. He has a shop down in Florida, so he knows those guys.
Gotcha.
Pretty well. And so we kind of interact with them lightly.
Yeah.
But I've never. I don't know. I think there's some teams that I just don't interact with because it's just somehow, some way it doesn't work. But most teams I do, but some teams I just don't. Like I don't have to like. And I've been finding myself taking the time to go if I don't interact with somebody. Like we ran Long Beach Grand Prix. We had a Formula Drift event there, and I never got a chance to talk to Michael Essa. I know his crew guy super well, super awesome. We talk about our kids, talk about all kinds of stuff, but I never got a chance to talk to Michael Essa. So I just rolled up and I was just like, I was appreciating his car because he had this crazy build out there. This like E46 that was just beautiful. I don't know if you've seen it, you should check it out. It's beautiful. but I was really stoked on it, you know, and that's like, I was just talking to him, and it was kind of nice to just have those moments with just people I don't normally talk to in the scene, because we're so busy, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's nonstop for us. We set up on where it's like from Wednesday to Saturday night, we don't stop. And it's like, by the time I'm done flying home from an event on Sunday, I'm just smoked, man. It takes me like a day to recover. So you don't have time to talk to people. Like Chris Heimer, he's Dai Yoshihara's crew chief.
Okay.
I grew up street racing with Chris Heimer. Like, he's the homie. We've done crazy. We've crashed in each other's cars. We've driven off road together, like Baja stuff. You know, I've known each other forever. We maybe get 1 minute of conversation the entire season, just because we're busy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, there's people that you like. I'll talk to Rome a lot, just because he's kind of tied in with our little clique. But you know, it's not really clicky, but it is. You know, like everything. But Adam was pitted next to us, and I had my bicycle, and so he comes from like a bicycle, like BMX type thing. They all have bicycles, right? So they're out there kind of doing bicycle stuff on their like downtime, right? When they're not like, it's like at night, they finish the car, they do what they have to do, and so I'm just like, yo, I'm gonna get with this. So I hopped on my bicycle, right? Because I brought my BMX out, and I'm like riding. I was like, yo, can I be in your bicycle gang? Right? I was like, yo, let me be in your bicycle gang. What I got to do? You know, he's like, well, you got to just do this. If you can do a 180, right? If you could jump 180 on the bicycle. And I was like, yo, I'm like, so I got to jump myself in, right? He's like, they're like, yeah. So I ended up like riding around with those guys and like playing a game I never played before, which is called Foot Down. You ever play Foot Down?
No.
Sick. So sick.
What is it?
You basically, it's like bicycle combat. So you ride bicycles around and you try and knock each other to put their foot down.
Oh shit.
You kick them, or you run into them, or you like, it was so sick, man.
That's so cool.
So I had so much fun, man. And we're like jumping and playing, and it was like, it's like the first time I really got to like chill with them. But you know, there's like a ton of respect for that level of like what it takes to get to that level on a YouTube basis.
Discipline, for sure.
Tons of discipline. Like, I don't know if you know Amelia Hartford.
I know of her, but I've never met her before.
So like, super proud of her. You know, we get to like, I've kind of followed her since she was starting out, and like when I get to see her, so I didn't meet her for a while, but I'd always, you know, because she's like a SoCal girl and like really proud of what she's accomplished, right? But so we got to wrap out at SEMA one year, and I was talking to her about Pepper and like, oh, I'm working on it and stuff. She's like, yo, she's like, I got to tell you, she's like, Pepper was my screen, my background, my wallpaper on my MacBook. And it was inspired me that this was so outside of the box that I could do something outside of the box.
Really?
And it it like humbled me.
Oh my God.
You know, because like that's what I seek to do in life. That's my purpose, is to inspire people, right?
Yeah.
And so just to see that like my crazy ideas, you know, have like affected people who are doing crazy ideas. You know what I mean? Like, how cool is that?
That's awesome.
Like, just, and honestly, man, like, honestly, that's what keeps me going. Like, from the dude who's like, yo, you got me into cars. I love cars. Like, I'm doing crazy stuff. Like, all that stuff is like my fuel now, you know? Like, not ego, it's just like to know that I'm like inspiring people. It kind of checks me to be like, okay, what's next?
Yeah,
like,
you got to keep pushing. There's people watching.
There's people watching. Like, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, I got to grow.
I love it. And
that's what creators been doing lately. It's just been like, yo, you got to grow. Like, you got to like make your, like, those little pieces and bits, those fears, those things, they don't serve you anymore. It's time to grow. You know what I mean? Like, grow.
Yep. Dude, shout out to all the creators. Anybody got a line on Adam LZ? Tell him we need him on the pod. Amelia too.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah. She's doing dope stuff.
They're all killing it, bro.
They're killing it. They're all
everybody that's making content. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I understand the process how hard it is, how much discipline. Great people in that space.
Yeah.
You know, fucking, there's just so much. There's so much possibility out there, bro.
Anything is possible.
Anything.
Right.
And it's not like some Disney shit. No, it's real. Like anything is possible.
Right. Well, that's what's so like I have a YouTube, but I haven't been propagating it. But I just been filming.
Yeah.
Tons. And not like I got a lot of content and not just random content. Like I got show format content and I just didn't know how to edit. And so my homie, so Joey Curtis, he directed Streets of Legend.
Okay.
And he was like, he's been nominated. He did like what's the one with like Michelle Williams and Ryan Gosling, Blue Valentine. So he was he wrote Blue Valentine.
Okay.
Nominated for that. He's dope. He's like family though. So he comes at Christmas. He's like,
oh, very cool.
He's like my brother, you know. He's like calls my mom on Mother's Day, you know.
Yeah.
So he's the family. So he got me for Christmas. Was this last Christmas? This must have been last. He got me he gave me a full like iMac Mac Pro. What's the big screen?
Yeah,
Mac
yeah,
thing?
iMac.
Yeah, with like Final Cut.
Hell yeah.
X on it, and he's just like, "Yo, bro, you gotta edit. It's like about time." And so, I've been like editing stuff, editing the like Pepper videos, editing stuff. My girlfriend she got one now, and she's like learning edits because we got a whole rad plan. She bought a school bus like mine. She's got the same bus as me, and she's doing a mobile barbershop.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she's like a world famous barber. Yeah, Moonshine Mondays. Yeah, that's her thing. Yeah, that's her Instagram thing is Moonshine Mondays.
So you learned how to edit?
I learned how to edit, man.
Beautiful.
It's awesome, man. It makes you think different about how you film too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
For sure. Like you're just. I did my first multicam edit, like maybe last month. And I'm just stacking these shows, man. Like I got like, we shot like half a show on this crazy all-wheel drive project, and like, because we reshot it. So we shot that Motor Trend show, and we had this whole crazy build. And when the Matt Van Kirk episodes got pulled because of the stuff he got into, part of that content was in those shows that are sitting on a shelf in Discovery right now. So there's like a lot of product and a lot of rad stuff that's like, this needs to get out there. This is like cool. This is like beautiful stuff. And so that's what I did was doing with Gabe down there in San Diego, is we're shooting this, like we were basically tore it all apart, reshot the whole thing, and we were about halfway through. We took a little hiatus to finish Pepper, and then he passed away. Mm-hmm. So that was like, it was beginning of this year, and he got the COVID, but he had some pretty bad health conditions. He had a stroke about 4 years before, but that rocked my world. That was just like we were talking, we were messaging, and like we had kind of shut down for holidays and stuff like that. This was in January of this year, and separate. We got it. My girlfriend and I got it also, but we got it from separate channels. We don't know. I think we don't know where we got it, but and he got it through his cousin, and they're just like, his cousin had it, and he recovered, and my lady and I had it, and we were like down for a day. We stayed quarantined for like 14 days, but we were just like, she had a fever for 2 days, and I was just like, I had one day where I just had to sleep, and that was cool. That was it. Yeah. And like, we thought he'd recover, and we were messaging jokes and stuff like that. I was like, I sent him a big old list of like natural supplements and stuff to take, like the quercetin, the zinc, and the like all of that, like all that stuff, the garlic and all the stuff that's going to help you, like a huge list. But I know him, and I've known him for like 25 plus years street racing. That was my San Diego homie. Yeah. He was like the head of the San Diego street race group, right? And I know what he did. He just looked at my text, laughed, and popped a Coors and just drank it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And chilled in bed and be like, I'm going to get through this. Yeah. But he didn't, and that sucked, because it's like, and if all you guys at home don't know Gabe Galvin, he was just like a true like character, like just, I'm so grateful to get to film like this amazing show with him, like shoot at least half a show, and then I could spin it into like a cool tribute for him and finish the car and like, you know what I mean? Like represent what we had planned to do with it. You know what I mean? But the world, like Paul, I can't see not having him in my life, like it's just, there's people here that like can never be replaced, and Gabe was like this character that can never be replaced. And if like you didn't get a chance to know him, I hope that something from the show like influences you from him. I hope he makes you laugh, and I hope you get to feel that kind of energy from him, that just love for cars, love for the sport, love for what we do, and he built these crazy engines. He was an engine builder. Gabe built a bunch of like record winning motors for like the sport front wheel drive community, and just like such a good dude, like just always had my back. In fact, when we were shooting the Motor Trend show and a bunch of stuff went sideways with like the 9K guys, like he was just had my back, you know what I mean? And like that's what friends do, is they have your back even when it's not popular, you know what I mean? Like even when it's inconvenient, he just had my back. He had everyone's back, and I'd always see him like have everyone's back, and it just sucks. That's my one, that not regret, because it was kind of like, what are you gonna do? But I'm sad that I didn't get to finish that and show it to him, that final product. You know what I mean? Because it's just so beautiful. It's all 4K. It's just beautiful. We got slide shots on product, and like, it forced me to, because all that stuff, like I gotta do something with it. It forced me to like pony up and like build like a production company essentially. You know what I mean? And so build like, I got the shoulder mount, V mount, 4K
nice
camera stuff, and
hell yeah,
all the lenses and like a drone,
cool,
and like all the GoPros and stuff. And I just been like figuring it out. I had Joey come through and help me shoot some of the stuff to begin with.
Oh, nice.
Just come through and bring some slides, and I got a slide and like shoot everything like really nice. And
hey, if you were to ask me what I would do if I didn't have any obligations, me skate and edit and make content, that's it. Every time I come out with a video or an edit, like literally in the lab, headphones on, fucking 1 a.m. just geeking out, bro. Oh, let's put a sound here. Let's get this. Oh, this transition here. It's like I love it so much, and I feel like this is the space that I should be in.
Right.
Podcasting wise, creating. I feel like I need to do a lot more creating.
Why don't you?
Just excuses, not making it a priority.
Right.
And that's just what it is. So it's like, now that I realize, I've come to that realization that
on this show right now.
It's
the chocolate.
It's the chocolate. Bro. It's the honest chocolate.
Every time it just makes me boom. Yeah.
But yeah, even with this podcast, like I'm stoked to edit this, put it all together and put it out there, and 100 people see it, 100,000 people see it. It doesn't matter. This conversation is gonna live forever,
right?
And I love it, dude. We've had so many great people on this podcast, and just to hear their stories, and those stories live forever. I feel, especially like some of the old OGs. That's why I wanted to get you on the pod, to hear your side of things, because I've had Steph on here, I've had Ron on here, I've had Jason Parks on here, and I've had RJ on here before. So I've had so many people. So like, even though I wasn't in the community at the time, I'm still trying to do my due diligence and hear these stories, hear these names, and then put them out there for the newer generation. I've been in it since 2007. What about the kid that came in at 2017? Has no idea who RJ DeVera is,
right?
And somehow maybe he found out about Downstar, and then maybe he finds the podcast. So hopefully one day that
it's not easy what you do, right? This isn't easy,
yeah.
and it's not like you love it, so it's okay. Like it makes it work. You do it,
Yeah.
But like, it's not easy. Like this is time out of like, running the business, or there's probably a million things on your agenda, but like you take the time out and you like preserve you preserve and you like help this community. You preserve the community aspect of this community, right?
Yeah.
And this love for cars and these people's stories and this sort of iconic backstory of why we all get to do what we do, why there's like the infrastructure to be able to go online and buy a bunch of parts for, your Civic or whatever, your 240 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like you're reaching back and grabbing like the root of this stuff, and that's pretty incredible. Like that's really incredible.
Thank you, bro.
And I don't think you get the credit you deserve for doing this. And
One day.
I don't think people see how difficult it is to like, this isn't the end of it. You got to take this back and you got to sit down and you got to edit it and you got to do all the cuts and like, you know what I mean? It's not just me. It's not just one shot. You got a camera on you,
Yeah.
camera on me, and a camera on us. You know what I mean? And so it's like that's a lot of time.
Yeah. Well, that's why when you said you multi-camera editing, like I know exactly what you mean, dude. And a lot of the time after I finish, I take a picture of my timeline and just put it out there because the people that know, they know. It's
right.
not just about 6 cuts and put audio track here and there. There's probably over 200-300 cuts in this,
and they gotta feel right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you stop it and you're like, does that feel right?
Camera's too long on you.
Yeah.
I gotta cut it down a little bit, switch it over here. You said something here, switch it. I said fuck them. I got whatever it is,
Yeah.
But it's just
you cut that out, or I know YouTube does like.
Oh no, like as far as cussing wise, I mean, I haven't got demonetized for it.
Yeah.
Maybe because it hasn't been flagged or something. But honestly, like, I'm putting all of this content out there.
Yeah.
And it's going down in history.
Right.
I'm not trying to make money from YouTube. It would be nice, and it would be nice every episode that I came out with that it got, thousands and thousands of views. But the reason that it would be nice is because thousands and thousands of people heard this conversation.
Right, totally.
We're making money.
Right.
It's always good to make more money, but I'm not doing this for the money. This is what I'm doing outside of the money.
I don't think you like YouTube. I think that's like, I'm not putting this content together for the money. There's a lot of other things that I could do in life that would make a lot more money.
Yeah, facts.
But like, this is for the love, This is the like giving back.
This is how I see it, bro. In our community, how many podcasts are there? And okay, let's divide it then. How many podcasts are solely about cars? That's not what this podcast is about. This is about connecting with whoever the guest is, whether it's a car person, skate person, professional football player, boxer, whatever it is. This is about their story and hearing about their story. So we're in a very sort of like a weird niche. It's a car podcast because that's my background is automotive.
Right.
But we're not talking about cars the whole time.
Life.
Of course. So it's going to be a lot harder for me to get the traction when people just want to hear just about, oh, well, what motor do you have? What this and that, which is dope. Right. But that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in why you built that car, why you chose that chassis. What did you give up in order to make that happen? What was your goals?
Right.
How did you accomplish those goals? And I think that the conversations that I'm looking for and the content that I'm looking for isn't that popular in our space right now. I don't know if there's many 20-year-old kids that want to hear about somebody's life stories, somebody's vulnerabilities, somebody's heartbreaks, things like that.
Right.
Me as a 36-year-old man, those are the things that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in your business and how much money you have. I'm interested in how you started your business and how you maintain the business and the struggles that you go through, you know.
Right.
And
I think that's ultimately more relatable.
yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? I think the people, you know, I think that's touching on that older generation that is tuning into YouTube. You know what I mean? So it's not that like, but I think that everyone loves the story. You know what I mean? Because you could only get so much story from the cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the car. You can talk about it. You can do a walk around. And that might be the attention span of the generation that's like, you know, getting lots and lots of views. But, you know, at some point, you know, you don't have to like watch this. You can sit and listen to it.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. All of these are interesting. You know what I mean? Like all the stories are interesting. And I think that's like ultimately what you'll be getting is like lots of those people who just like, it's like a captivating journey, you know, through like woven through someone's life, you know, and we didn't even like scratch the surface.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
There's
you know?
so much left, dude. And
There's a lot of crazy stuff.
I feel like I got to this point in my life that this is the type of content that I want to consume.
Right.
So others will come. My demographic is high 20s to mid 30s.
Right.
That's a different demographic than say somebody like TJ has, you know, Adam has.
Yeah.
So
I see his demographic at the track.
Yeah. So it instead of me adjusting my content to appease them, I'll just wait till they're ready.
Yeah.
Until it catches.
Yep.
And it catches their attention, and then they can go and listen to some old episodes, and then who knows what the show would get.
Right.
But my only motivation into growing the show is just to make it easier to reach out to whatever guests that I want to have on that I personally want to talk to, and then have these conversations. Right. We've been talking for almost 4 hours, bro. We're about 6 minutes away from 4 hours.
What's your longest podcast?
It's probably this one.
Damn it, I never shut up.
But you know,
that's what my girlfriend, she's like, my girlfriend name's Kat. She's like, well, what are you gonna talk about? I'm like, I don't know, but once I get going, it ain't gonna end.
That's how it goes, dude. And sometimes I'll sit down with people like Eric from Ilk Fab. Are you familiar with him? Ilk Fab, yeah. He would actually do work with Throttle and TJ. He's out from that way in San Diego area. But I had him on the podcast just because, you know, I was interested in what he does. Dude, we ended up talking for like 4 hours. Yeah. You know, and it's just, you never know the person that you're gonna sit down with, and if you click. You know, David Andrade from Rywire had him on the podcast too, and same thing. Another 4 hour one, you know. So one day people are going to appreciate these type of conversations, and if they do, awesome. But if they don't, I already got my payment for it. My payment for it is being able to have these conversations, give our guests a platform where they could talk about things that maybe they forgot about. Right. You know, I have that happen so many times where like, damn, I haven't even thought about that since then. There's a lot. You know? And we're just scratching the surface, bro. We're going to have to do a part 2, man.
Yeah, man. There's a lot more. Yeah, what else is, I mean, there's so much more. I mean, sailing and getting out of it.
You're going to need to write a book, dude.
Racing in Japan. I got to race cars in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, like road course cars.
Dude.
Down in Shizuoka province.
We're definitely going to have to sit down again, right?
Yeah, man. There's a lot. It's hard to really, I feel like, you got to leave some mystery.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. And sometimes it's not about the stories. It's more about when you hear someone talking and how they tell stories, and you kind of get like, okay, now I understand this person.
Totally. Now, I think probably a lot of people didn't understand me who, you know, because I'm kind of an elusive figure, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, I still do my things, but I don't, you know, like, these are very intimate. This is very, like, vulnerable and, like, intimate in the conversation and the context, right?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people hopefully will resonate with it or find inspiration in it or, you know, whatever they take away from it, that's just like, hopefully it'll make the world a better place.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, it's helping out somebody right now who's in their garage wrenching on their car.
Yeah.
And they're stoked because they remember watching True Life when they were a kid.
Right.
And they were stoked to listen to this shit.
And my advice to them is, if you're wrenched on your car, is just do something on it every day. Like whatever it takes, whatever, even if it's not a car, even if it's a bike, or even if it's like a business.
Just feed it.
Just, you got to feed it every day. And you know, when that thing, and you have a little spat and your time apart, remember to fall back in love with it. You know what I mean? Because it's worth it. You know, you got into this for a reason. And just start at the beginning. Remember what it was like. Falling in love all in the first place, and all the fun stuff you did in that car or whatever, you know, and just do something for it every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's my advice.
I'm going to go buy me some work equips and a squash air freshener.
Yeah,
and
that
a Wakaba
squash,
badge.
That black squash is the business, man.
Fuck yeah. Greg, thank you so much for
You're
being on the
welcome.
pod, dude. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your time, dude. And let everybody know where they can find you at.
Well, you can find me in La Habra if you're fast enough. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're gonna catch up. I got a turbo diesel Duramax in my school bus.
Let's go.
Y'all, and there's a show on Yippee right now. I drag race it against a minivan at the Irwindale Speedway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Backseat Driver. It's on Yippee. It's on another show called another channel called, I don't know. So it's on Yippee for sure. It's a streaming service. But yeah, it's like a Backseat Driver. It's a kids car show. I'm the stunt driver on there called Disco Greg.
Oh shit.
And Mia's on there, and she's introducing Pepper and all the parts in the engine bay and whatnot. And she's and then we drag race a minivan and smoke.
Damn, dude, you got so much stuff going on. Bro.
Yeah, man, stuff going. So but yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Greg Leone WMD. You could find me on YouTube, Greg Leone WMD. You can find me in person, and you can call me Greg Leone WMD if you really want to. You know what I mean? Like, and WMD is the moniker, you know, and it really means whatever you want it to mean. I don't tell people. It's just, it could mean like, we make drinks,
weapons of mass destruction,
white man drifting.
Oh, there you go.
We might die. What's my destination?
It's a gang, dude.
Woman of my dreams. Yeah. I don't know, like Willie's Mighty Sausage. No, that's deep. Willie's Mighty Disco. Like, it's whatever you really want to mean it. Like, I'd love to hear what you guys think it means. You know what I mean? Like, I'd really love to hear in the comments, like,
hell yeah, what
you guys think, you know, WMD means to you, like what those 3 letters really mean. And so, like, yeah, that's kind of the movement, and that's the meaning, and that's like, yeah.
I love it, bro. Kicking ass, man. And guys, if you made it to this podcast, this is definitely the longest one that we've had. It's probably beat the other 2 by about 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, I love to beat them.
The longest podcast is gonna be a bitch to edit, but
I gotta win. You know what I mean?
Guys,
did we get over 4 hours? We just made 4 hours.
We just made 4 hours.
4-hour podcast.
Boom, guys.
Woo.
If you made it this far, the only thing we ask is if you enjoyed this, please tell a friend. We got 230 other podcasts that you could check out. And if you're in the comments in YouTube, just drop a comment. You know, check out Greg. Go to his Instagram, and let us know what other guests you guys would like to see on the show. Bro, I appreciate you coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Fucking rad time,
let's go skate now, man.
Yeah, let's go do it, man.
Let's go shred it up.
Downtime with Downstar, episode 231, and we out. Peace.
Peace.